Chapter 713. It was not difficult for Li Zongjio to kill Xiao Yuan. Below, Gong Changhe stood up and tried to escape. He had already avoided the Howling Moon Wolf King's pursuit. However, when he turned around and passed through a small alley, he was kicked in the face. Bang! Gong Changhe's entire body flipped and rolled on the ground. Who is it? Gong Changhe was kicked and rolled several times on the ground. Even now his chest was still in great pain. Young sect master, long time no see. Tianfei walked out from the darkness and looked at Gong Changhe, who was lying on the ground in a miserable state. His mood was extremely happy and joyful. In fact, this scene seemed to have come a little too quickly for Tianfei. The usually high and mighty young sect master, that no one dared to disobey, was now like a broken and disheveled dog, kneeling in front of him, begging for mercy. When he saw Tianfei walk out, Gong Changhe's eyes were filled with astonishment. "It's you! Why are you still?" Gong Changhe suddenly said in horror. No wonder Qin Liang hadn't come back after such a long time. Since Tianfei was still alive, it meant that Qin Liang had already met with misfortune. "Why am I still alive? Are you disappointed to see that I am still alive?" Tianfei sneered. Gong Changhe was lying on the ground and vomiting blood. In addition to his previous injuries, it was difficult for him to get up. "I have said that I will return this enmity tenfold." Tianfei stretched out his hand. The flaw in his palm was clearly visible. Gong Changhe immediately understood that Tianfei had come back for revenge. Tianfei's origin pearl was clearly broken, but it had recovered its strength. It was simply unbelievable. How did Tianfei repair his origin pearl? However, at this moment, Gong Changhe didn't have to think about such things. He had to think about how he could survive. "Tianfei, calm down and listen to me. If you let me go, I will let bygones be bygones. When I return to the sect and become the sect master, I will definitely promote you to be the sect's great elder." Gong Changhe quickly said. This was the only thing that Gong Changhe could take out. "You know who I am. The sect will do everything they can to investigate my death. When the time comes, you won't be able to escape. I'll pretend that I never saw you today. Let me go." Gong Changhe's thoughts were clear. However, Tianfei was well aware of Gong Changhe's temperament. The first thing he would do when he returned to the sect was that Gong Changhe would definitely send people to kill him. Even his family would not be spared. Moreover, this time, Gong Changhe would definitely eliminate the source of trouble. This person must not be allowed to return alive. Tianfei sneered. "There's no need for that. You can't be the sect leader anymore. Just be a dead man." Immediately, Tianfei's eyes were filled with terrifying killing intent. "Tianfei, you little bastard, how dare you?" Seeing this, Gong Changhe attempted to intimidate Tianfei with his status as the junior sect master. However, Tianfei had already drawn his sword. Whoosh! With a single slash, the head of Gong Changhe was sent flying. Whoosh! As Gong Changhe's head flew into the air, the Howling Moon Wolf King rushed over from afar and devoured Gong Changhe's head in one bite. "Now you know who's the real trash." Tianfei looked at Gong Changhe's corpse on the ground and sneered. However, at this moment, he was still feeling a little complicated and excited. After all, the person he killed was the junior sect master, who had been above him for many years. Even Tianfei couldn't believe it. Although he had been dreaming about killing this guy, when the day really came, he still felt like he was in a dream. This feeling was really good. This wolf seems to like eating heads. Tianfei looked at the Howling Moon Wolf King, who had landed on the ground, and could not help but feel a little nervous. Now that he had gotten rid of Gong Changhe, Tianfei never thought that he could take revenge so quickly. Even before he was mentally prepared, his enemy had already fallen under his sword. He didn't need to accumulate more hatred in his heart. This kind of gratifying feeling of revenge was really delightful. However, just like what Gong Changhe had said earlier, the Xianyuan sect would definitely do their best to track down the culprits. Once they were discovered, it would be a disaster. However, there was no other way now. It was better to take one step at a time. If he returned to the sect, he would definitely die. However, if he stayed with Li Zongjio, he still had a chance of survival. As long as Li Zongjio did not die, Tianfei, who was hiding behind him, would be able to keep his life. Li Zongjio had easily killed Xiao Yuan with the Blood Soul Hell. Just as Nangong Wuji had guessed, with Li Zongjio's various means, the maximum level of the enemy he could face was around the 3rd grade Origin Emperor realm. If a 4th grade Origin Emperor came, even Li Zongjio would have to retreat. Of course, he still had means to save his life. There were countless moves that Li Zongjio had not used yet. After all, it was really hard to meet an evenly matched opponent who deserved Li Zongjio's full strength. Young master, Gong Changhe has been killed. If Xiao Yuan escapes, we must kill him, Tian Fei said nervously when he saw Li Zongjio return alone. That old man is already dead. Li Zongjio said indifferently. Dead? That was the one-armed Xiao Yuan, one of the 7 elders in charge of the Xinyuan sect. An Origin Emperor realm powerhouse. He died just like that. On a night like this that didn't even pick a day, he died just like that. Whoosh! Another figure landed on the ground. Inghu was holding 2 people in his hands as he rushed towards Li Zongjio. Young master, how should we deal with this fellow? The 2 people Inghu was holding were not ordinary people. They were the 9th prince, Prince Xian Ming. The other person was the 9th prince's bodyguard, an Origin monarch realm powerhouse. However, experts like Inghu did not need to face them head-on. They could rely on their superior movement skills to knock them out. Inghu had obtained a lot of good things from Lu Wenshan. It was a very simple task for any alchemist to casually refine some medicinal herbs with special effects. The 2 people in Inghu's hands were also in deep sleep at the moment. Take them away. Li Zongjio glanced at them. The person he had captured was the 9th prince. Naturally, he could not be dealt with so casually in the city. Even if he wanted to get rid of him, he would have to bring him to a secluded corner first. Dou Ling also brought Han Shuang and Han Shui with her. Everyone returned to the White Deer Manor. Although tonight's battle was extremely spectacular, the process was not complicated. Inghu had easily killed the disciples of the Xinyuan sect. Of course, Li Zongjio had also killed 3 of them. We are here. Nangong Wuji's figure descended from the sky. Behind Nangong Wuji was a hunchbacked old man in ragged clothes. He held a walking stick in one hand and a broken bowl in the other. He was obviously a beggar in the sacred Flame Royal City. Old Nan, is this the awesome kid you were talking about? The old beggar was quite boastful. When he arrived, he wanted to show off his power to Li Zongjio. Where did this beggar come from? Kick him out. Li Zongjio glanced at the old beggar and said contemptuously. I Hong Shursan can get any food I want. The old beggar Hong Shursan burst into laughter. Hong Shursan? You are Hong Shursan, the whirlwind staff. When the old beggar announced his name, Tian Fei was also surprised. Oh, this little guy has good eyesight. He actually knows my name, Hong Shursan said proudly. Chapter 7:16. Revenge. Alright, stop showing off. Aren't you going to deal with the disciples of the Xinyuan sect? I have brought you some experts. When are you going to do it? Nangong Wuji said. Nangong Wuji was a person who loved to see the world in chaos. Since he happened to be here, he would definitely join in the fun. As for the revenge of the Xinyuan sect, sorry, they hadn't thought about this at all. Do it. Why would I wait for you? I have already killed them, Li Zongjio said. Killed them? What did he mean by that? Nangong Wuji wasn't the only one who didn't understand. Hong Shursan was even more puzzled. Didn't these people want ZZ to deal with the people from Xinyuan sect? What did they mean when they said that all of them had been killed? It was really puzzling. This kid looks familiar. Nangong Wuji saw the 2 figures lying at Inghu's feet. Why did one of them look like the 9th prince? We have already gone out and killed all the disciples of the Xinyuan sect. None of them were left alive, Tian Fei explained. Since the person in front of him was Whirlwind Rod Hong Shursan, he was one of them. This was because Whirlwind Rod Hong Shursan was hunted down by the Xinyuan sect in the past. Even Hong Shursan's family was destroyed by the Xinyuan sect. Therefore, Hong Shursan hated the Xinyuan sect very much. However, he was not strong enough to take revenge. Killing these small fries was not enough to satisfy him. Therefore, Hong Shursan had been lying low, waiting for such an opportunity. Are you serious? Hong Shursan was very clear about the movements of the Xinyuan sect. Immediately, Hong Shursan's figure flashed and disappeared in front of them, flying towards the horizon. Boom! Seeing Hong Shursan's figure disappear, he must be going to confirm whether those people were dead or not. Lock these two up in the stable and lock them up, Li Zongjio said directly. The dignified ninth prince was reduced to a prisoner. This was probably something that the ninth prince had never dreamed of. There was actually someone who dared to kidnap him in the Holy Flame Imperial City. Even in his dreams he would not dare to believe it. The two of you can go back by yourselves. I can't stay here anymore. Li Zongjio looked at Han Shuang and Han Shui and said, "Thank you for saving our lives, young master." The two of them looked at each other, then bowed to Li Zongjio. Soon after, they left White Deer Manor. Naturally, they had to return to Purple Xian Pavilion and report back. No one could have imagined that the current situation would turn out like this. However, one thing was certain. It would not be easy for the ninth prince to walk out of the White Deer Manor. "Boy, did you really kill the people of the Xianyuan sect? I heard that the one who came this time was an primitive emperor elder and some young sect master. Did you kill them all?" Nangong Wuji asked Li Zongjio. He had only gone out for a short time. He only had a meal with his old friends and had a few sips of wine. How could Li Zongjio directly finish the matter? Is it strange? After Li Zongjio finished speaking, he said to the shadow fox, "I'm going to go into seclusion to refine pills. Before I come out, make sure that they don't cause trouble everywhere." "Young master, don't worry." Inghu nodded and said, "Tonight was a good night to show off his skills." It also rekindled Inghu's desire to fight. What they did tonight could be said to be quite exciting. Back then, Inghu had embarked on the path of an assassin precisely because he liked the suffocating feeling of being on the verge of death. Tonight, he had experienced this feeling once again. He had not felt this way for a long time. Li Zongjio went into seclusion once again. However, the disturbance in the outside world did not stop. Nangong Wuji used the excuse that he was going to start drawing designs as an excuse to stay in Li Zongjio's Bailu Manor in a dignified manner. He was responsible for guarding the Heavenly Star Medicine Manor, but what was there to guard? All they did was read books, sweep the dust, and play with crickets. Other than that, there was nothing else to do. They were so bored that their balls hurt. They had already reached their age, so what else was there to say? If they didn't find something to do, then they would probably be like this for the rest of their lives. Therefore, Nangong Wuji found something for himself to do. As for the lack of a room, Nangong Wuji built a wooden house on the old locust tree in the courtyard in less than 15 minutes. Inghu gasped in amazement when he saw Nangong Wuji's method. Nangong Wuji's method was too incredible. He could build a house in such a short time. The problem was what to do when it rained. Hong Shursan, who had gone to check the situation, quickly returned to Bailu Manor. Looking at Hong Shursan's expression, it could be said that he was quite excited. There was nothing more exciting than this. After so many years, he really did not expect that he could really meet someone who was not afraid of death and go against the Mystic Yuan sect, an enemy. It was simply inconceivable. At the same time, Hong Shursan was extremely excited. Speaking of which, Hong Shursan's heart was filled with joy. He's really dead. He's really dead. This guy has guts. I want to cooperate with him. Hong Shursan said as he was about to rush in and become sworn brothers with Li Zongjio. However, Nangong Wuji stopped him. "Save it. He's refining pills now. Don't mess around." Nangong Wuji stopped Hong Shursan. "Refining pills? I'll wait for a while. Let me tell you, the Mystic Yuan sect has suffered a great loss this time. That old bastard Gong's son is dead. Even his head is missing. Don't you think it's great? I've recorded it with the recording crystal. When I see that old bastard Gong, I'll definitely magnify this scene and show it to him. I'll let him enjoy it slowly. Ha ha ha." Hong Shursan laughed crazily. Nangong Wuji was meditating at the side, ignoring the somewhat crazy Hong Shursan. This was because Hong Shursan had endured too much pressure for so many years. Now that he finally saw that the Mystic Yuan sect had suffered such a great loss, he was naturally very happy. At least he saw a glimmer of hope. This colossus was not invulnerable. "I'll stay here first. I'd like to see how capable the Mystic Yuan sect is." Ha ha ha. Hong Shursan laughed loudly. As he was about to enter Nangong Wuji's treehouse, he was kicked out by Nangong Wuji. Get lost and sleep outside. You old man, how dare you kick me? Hong Shursan was about to argue with Nangong Wuji, but when he saw Nangong Wuji's action, he suddenly shut his mouth. Finally, he obediently walked outside and sat on the steps outside the manor to sleep without his clothes on. Underground black market. It was difficult for the wind and clouds above to spread to the underground. However, the premise was that the people underground did not take the initiative to investigate. At this moment, in front of the King of Fire, Oxhead General was reporting the situation of the person who had robbed their shop in the Ghost King Night Market. Since Li Zhongjiu left the Ghost King Night Market, he had been targeted. Oh, you're saying that this Li Zhongjiu not only killed the people of the Chongqing Pavilion, but also the people of the Mystic Yuan sect today? Without accurate information, Oxhead General naturally did not dare to come back casually. If the King of Fire was not satisfied with the information he had collected, he could lose his life at any time. In this Ghost King Night Market, human lives were worthless. Don't think that your strength is enough, or even think that you are quite important. If the Fire Ghost King was in a bad mood, he might directly kill you. It's really interesting. It seems that this guy has a good aptitude. Maybe we can cooperate. The King of Fire said mysteriously. Naturally, the people below did not understand the King of Fire's words, but they continued to listen to the King of Fire's orders. Now that we've found this guy, there's no need to worry. Keep a close eye on him, and see what other amazing moves he can make. Yes, Ghost King, Oxhead General said respectfully. Also, you did a good job this time. Here's your reward. As soon as he finished speaking, Oxhead General found a fiery red elixir in his hand. When he saw the elixir, Oxhead General's face, under the mask, suddenly revealed an extremely surprised expression. This kind of elixir was only given out by the King of Fire, when he was extremely happy. Chapter 714. Tianyuan Province, Mystic Yuan Sect. The Mystic Yuan Sect was located in the core mountain range of Tianyuan Province. It oversaw the central region and absorbed the flourishing energy from all directions. The glory that the Mystic Yuan Sect had created was unprecedented. There were more than 30,000 disciples in the sect. There were even more than 3,000 inner sect disciples. It was a huge scale. There were already more than 100 Yuan monarch disciples. Regardless of whether they were the future successors or the current pillars of the sect, they were all vigorous and radiant. It was precisely because the Mystic Yuan sect was full of vitality and had unlimited possibilities. Therefore, the sect master of the Mystic Yuan sect had made a bold attempt to let his son take advantage of this wonderful opportunity to propose marriage to Emperor Xingyan. If this matter could be resolved, then the Mystic Yuan sect would become the #1 sect in Tianyuan Province. It might even be possible for the Mystic Yuan sect to become the #1 sect in the Xingyan dynasty. There were still many sects that could compete with the Mystic Yuan sect in the 13 prefectures. Therefore, if he wanted to establish his position as the #1 sect, he would have to use even more extreme means. However, an accident still occurred during this trip to Sacred Flame Royal City. Even though a principal elder was personally leading the team, the sect leader had a bad premonition when he received the sect kill order. He quickly dispatched a team of law enforcers from outside the sect leader's territory. These teams were all outside the sect to deal with some matters, such as the pursuit of traitors within the sect, or some families that had harmed the interests of the sect needed to be thoroughly punished. Even though they were righteous at the beginning, there was a change in the process. Gradually, they became extremely vicious and merciless, causing people to tremble in fear. However, this group was only halfway through their journey. Suddenly, they received news of a death in the sect. In the middle of the night, under the bright starry sky, a mournful ringing of a bell suddenly rang out in the sky, penetrating through the entire sect. Anyone who heard the ringing of the bell quickly gathered in the main hall. Gong Wuliang didn't even have time to change out of his pajamas, as he hurriedly strode towards the hall. The one who sent the message was the Thousand Music Palace's palace master. Exactly what kind of news was it that required the Thousand Music Palace's palace master to personally come and report it? What is it? Spit it out. Gong Wuliang said hurriedly. The ringing of the bell indicated that it was a bad thing. Elder Xiao Yuan and young sect master died in the line of duty. The Thousand Sound Palace master cupped his hands and said, "What?" Gong Wuliang only felt a thunderous roar in his mind. Even with his cultivation, he felt a momentary blankness. From this matter, one could more or less see Gong Wuliang's fondness for Gong Changhe. At the same time, in order to temper Gong Changhe, he asked Xiao Yuan to accompany and protect him. Furthermore, with the protection of a divine item like the purple golden helmet, even if he faced an primitive emperor, he would at least have a chance to escape. He might even have the chance to introduce himself, so that he would not be killed directly under certain circumstances. In that case, his death would be too dubious. However, he did not expect that Gong Changhe would also die outside in the end. Could Sacred Flame Royal City really be a tiger's den? Even Gong Wuliang's son dared to be killed. Gong Wuliang naturally knew that those who dared to kill him definitely knew Gong Changhe's identity. Not only did they want to kill Gong Changhe, but they also wanted to provoke Gong Wuliang. How can the lives of my sect's people be trampled on by outsiders? Order the 7 palace masters to come to the conference hall. Immediately, Gong Wuliang said coldly. Killing Gong Changhe could be said to have directly angered the leader of the Xianyuan sect. Even if he just moved his finger, the experts would be able to cover the sky and cover the earth and kill him. There would be no chance for him to escape. Order the 4 palace masters to come and see me immediately, Gong Wuliang said to the Thousand Sound Palace master. The heart of the Thousand Sound Palace master shivered. The sect master had used the power hidden in the Tianyuan province. From this, one could see how furious the sect master was. It seemed that the sect master was going to do something big this time around. Immediately, the Thousand Sound Palace master hurriedly responded and withdrew. As for the disciples gathered outside the hall, they needed to meditate between heaven and earth to pay homage to the sect's brothers and elders who had passed away. Tianyuan province was naturally in a state of turmoil. Once the Xianyuan sect was angered, the situation in Tianyuan province would naturally change. The people in Tianyuan province naturally smelled the invisible smell of gunpowder. Although the Xianyuan sect dominated Tianyuan province, it didn't mean that they could sit back and relax. There were also many forces below that were covetously eyeing Tianyuan province's position as the overlord of Tianyuan province. As for how the Xianyuan sect would react, it would take at least a night to discuss. Sacred Flame Royal City, White Deer Manor. In the White Deer Manor, there were 2 primitive emperors overseeing it. Their strength was already very strong, which was simply surprising. When the sky was slightly bright, Do Ling had already turned over and got out of bed. She then called the Howling Moon Wolf King and prepared to go to the pleasure casino to learn. However, just as Do Ling was about to go out, she suddenly stopped and looked at the figure of a red-clothed woman who appeared at the door. "Is there anything I can help you with?" Do Ling opened the door and saw a woman in a red robe appear in front of her. The woman's face was also very delicate, making her unforgettable. It was as if she was the most beautiful goddess in one's dreams. The woman smiled at Do Ling and said, "I was passing by and was thirsty, so I came to ask for water." "Water? Then come in." Do Ling moved sideways to let the woman enter the house. The Howling Moon Wolf King at the side was extremely scared. It shivered and covered its eyes with its paws, as if it was extremely afraid of the aura of the woman in front of it. "Coming out to ask for water so early in the morning? You're really interesting," Do Ling couldn't help but say. When the red-clothed woman walked into the courtyard, 2 figures jumped down from the treehouse. Nangong Wuji and Hong Shursan sized up the red-clothed woman in front of them with astonishment. Hong Shursan had been sleeping outside, but it was too cold in the middle of the night, so he directly went to sleep beside Nangong Wuji's treehouse. Both of them were origin emperors, but when they saw the red-clothed woman in front of them, they became extremely nervous. When they saw it, they couldn't believe it at all. The woman's aura was so terrifying. Although the woman did not have any malice, her cultivation realm was extremely high. The woman glanced around, and the corners of her mouth curled up slightly. Can you stop the Mystic Yuan sect with just the few of you? The woman said contemptuously. However, it brought them great shock. Who are you? Nangong Wuji said in a cold voice. He didn't expect that he would encounter such a terrifying person. He didn't know who had provoked him. If Nangong Wuji knew about this, he would definitely beat that person to death. Nangong Wuji thought to himself. Nangong Wuji, a former member of the Imperial Extreme Palace. 10 years ago, he was injured by the Desolation Sky Scorpion and left the underworld. Hong Shi-san, the 19th generation successor of the Whirlwind Staff skill, has fallen to such a state. It's really pitiful. Little girl, even I can't see through you. Chapter 7:15. The King of Fire looked at the people in front of him with interest. Then, his gaze fell on the room where Li Zongjie was cultivating in seclusion. His gaze slightly condensed. At this moment, Nangong Wuji and the others had already felt that the person in front of them had ill intentions. The person's gaze fell on Li Zongjie's position. Could it be that the person was targeting Li Zongjie? This brat had indeed provoked someone he shouldn't have. Who are you? Nangong Wuji's face darkened. If the person could clearly know that he was a member of the Imperial Extreme Palace, then the person must not be a simple person. Nangong Wuji could not even think of resisting the other party's imposing manner. This made Nangong Wuji extremely shocked. This person's strength was far above his. If they were to fight, Nangong Wuji might not be a match for the person in front of him. You're not qualified to know who I am. When Li Zongjie comes out of seclusion, ask him to come and see me. I've already come to see him. This is my sincerity. Otherwise, I'll have to settle accounts with him. The King of Fire said. His actions and eyes were filled with a kind of charm that would make people's hearts flutter. For Nangong Wuji and the others, it was absolutely terrifying that this person's every move could affect their minds. When Nangong Wuji and Hong Shi-san finally reacted, they were both covered in cold sweat. When they looked at the King of Fire, they directly disappeared from where they were. To be able to disappear without a trace, the King of Fire's strength was quite terrifying. This person's strength is at least a 7th grade primitive emperor, Hong Shi-san said in surprise. His expression was extremely shocked, which really made Hong Shi-san feel frightened. There were countless experts hiding in the city, and Hong Shi-san was only a 2nd grade primitive emperor, which was nothing in the city. In the eyes of ordinary people, this was already the highest level of cultivation. However, in the eyes of the Origin Emperor realm experts, this was already in existence at the very bottom of the hierarchy. No, at least a 9th grade primitive emperor, Nangong Wuji said in a deep voice. His tone was solemn. Nangong Wuji used to be a 6th grade Origin emperor, but now, he had fallen to such a state. However, it didn't mean that Nangong Wuji hadn't seen any top-notch experts. Nangong Wuji had seen a few 9th grade Origin emperors before. Those who could reach such a level had a transcendent realm and level. Just like the lady in red, she looked like an ordinary person, but upon closer inspection, only those who were stronger could feel the pressure of such an expert. If an ordinary person stood in front of the woman in red and looked at her, they wouldn't feel any pressure at all. They would just feel like an ordinary person. So strong. Fuck, are they here for revenge? Then I have to pack up and leave. Hong Shi-san originally only wanted to deal with the Mystic Yuan sect, but the woman in red clearly looked more terrifying than the Mystic Yuan sect. She was at least a 9th grade primitive emperor realm expert. If she was a supreme being expert, then what was there to do? He didn't even need to take revenge. Pack up my ass. It's just a broken bowl and a broken stick, Nangong Wuji said with jealousy and disdain. It's getting late. I have to go and beg for food, otherwise, I won't have any food to eat today. Hong Shi-san took his bowl and stick and walked out of the manor step by step. The sudden visit of a top-notch expert really frightened these people. However, Do Linger didn't feel nervous at all. That sister is very beautiful. Why do you all look so scared? Do Linger looked at the two people curiously and expressed her confusion. Ahem, I almost forgot that you are also a little monster. Nangong Wuji naturally knew that Do Linger's identity was extraordinary, But he didn't expect that her identity was so extraordinary that even the lady in red couldn't see through her. This could only mean that Do Ling was someone who couldn't be offended. Oh, the casino is about to open. I have to hurry, otherwise there won't be any good seats. Seeing that it was getting late, Do Ling hurriedly went out with the Howling Moon Wolf King. The Howling Moon Wolf King's state gradually recovered after the lady in red left. Otherwise it would have been cowardly, hiding in a corner and shivering. It was really a disgrace to the Wolf King. Such a thing was really embarrassing for a Wolf King. Moreover, the human world seemed to be too dangerous. The Howling Moon Wolf King counted when he was free. In this small courtyard, there were 4 or 5 people who had the ability to kill him. How could the Howling Moon Wolf King survive in this place? He had no status at all. It seemed that he had to go out and bully some other meta beasts, subdue them, and then catch them and bully them. When the Howling Moon Wolf King first came here, he was very impressive. However, he gradually felt that his physical strength could no longer keep up with the rest of the pack. For the Howling Moon Wolf King, this kind of life was really too miserable. He had to get rid of it as soon as possible. No, this kind of expert actually came here personally. Nangong Wuji finally woke up from the shock of seeing the King of Fire. Now, as he looked at Nangong Wuji, he was extremely shocked. Even such an expert came here personally to find Li Zongjio. Didn't this mean that Li Zongjio was even more important? Just thinking about it made him feel scared. Nangong Wuji's eyes were also filled with extreme shock. He looked in the direction of Li Zongjio. In his heart, he was determined to find out the background of this kid. It seemed that some of the things that happened to this kid were extremely exciting. At this moment, Li Zongjio didn't know that the King of Fire had come to find him personally. Even if he knew, he wouldn't take it seriously. This was because he was refining an extremely important elixir. Even with Li Zongjio's cultivation, it still took him nearly 3 days to refine the elixir. On the 3rd day, in the sky above the White Deer Manor, a terrifying thundercloud had already appeared and was brewing. Hong Shursen also stuck his head out of the tree. It was sunny just now. Why is it so dark all of a sudden? Damn, it's going to be thunder. Hong Shursen exclaimed when he saw the dark cloud in the sky and jumped down from the tree. Now, Hong Shursen would sleep until noon every day. Then, he would go out to beg for food in the afternoon and come back in the evening. It seemed that he was very busy. Living on top of this treehouse was also shamelessly staying here. No matter how Nangong Wuji urged him, he couldn't drive him away. In addition to practicing martial arts, Nangong Wuji was also designing the open space beside the treehouse. As a former master architect, Nangong Wuji's craftsmanship had been neglected for many years. Now that he picked it up again, he needed to put in a lot of effort. The thundercloud doesn't look like it's going to rain. It looks like it's going to eat people. Nangong Wuji was holding a pen and a carving knife. When he raised his head and looked at the dark cloud, he was also surprised. He looked at the sky and didn't see such dark clouds. It was obvious that this dark cloud had come specifically for them. No, to be precise, it was coming for Li Zongjio, who was in seclusion. Chapter 716. At this moment, almost everyone in Royal City could see the emergence of this thundercloud. The terrifying power that seeped out of the terrifying thundercloud. It really made people break out in cold sweat. They were also deeply aware of the terrifying power of the thundercloud. In the Mirror Moon Villa, Master Jingyue was teaching Kuan Erishur the use of mental energy. When she discovered that Kuan Arashi's mental energy was actually very special, she was unusually surprised and immediately became interested in teaching him. Therefore, Kuan Erishur, who had just escaped from Sun Yu's Sea of Suffering, fell into Master Jingyue's fire pit again. This situation was naturally painful and joyous for Kuan Erishur. This was a good opportunity to learn new skills. Given Master Jingyue's status, ordinary people would not have such luck and opportunities. Therefore, Kuan Erishur also treasured this opportunity very much. When she sensed the appearance of the thundercloud in the sky, Master Jingyue also cast a look of horror. This is a pill lightning cloud. Master Jingyue's mental energy sensed that the power of this pill lightning was at least grade 6 or above. Grade 6 pill lightning. Who can attract such a pill lightning? Master Jingyue was not the only one. Many experts in the city also noticed Li Zongjiu's situation. The intelligence agencies also began to work quickly. During this process, they also reported Li Zongjiu's situation one by one, attracting a grade 6 pill lightning, regardless of whether it was a success or failure, meant that a grade 6 alchemist had appeared. It's Li Zongjiu. It's Li Zongjiu again. Li Zongjiu has broken through to become a grade 6 alchemist. A grade 6 alchemist? How is that kid possible? Qian Wuji and the rest, who were still lingering in Royal City, immediately went to investigate when they sensed the appearance of the grade 6 pill lightning. When they found out that the person who had attracted the pill lightning was most likely Li Zongjiu, they could not help but feel a sense of dread. One must know that just a second ago, Qian Wuji had gathered a group of his scoundrel friends and was preparing to attack Li Zongjiu. At the very least, he had to take revenge for the past. That was why Qian Wuji was so shocked. Damn it. It's best if he gets struck by lightning, Qian Wuji thought to himself. Within the heavenly stellar medicine manor, both Elder Baiku and Elder Sui Rong were shocked when they sensed the terrifying power. This is the power of a grade 6 pill lightning. Heavenly Pill Pavilion. Su Hong was currently handing over some matters to a few big shots from the Heavenly Pill Pavilion. This was because there would be an important competition at the beginning of spring next year. Currently, these big shots were making preparations. In this competition, they wanted to completely display the name of the Heavenly Pill Pavilion in the Saint Flame Empire. Not only within the borders of the Saint Flame Empire, but it would also have an absolute influence on the entire mainland. What is that? One of the big shots was the first to sense the existence of the pill lightning. He stood up and walked out of the window. At first, he couldn't sense it clearly, but later, he could clearly see that it was a pill lightning. And it was a grade 6 pill lightning. The appearance of this pill lightning immediately caused the hearts of the big shots to tremble. A grade 6 alchemist? In my city, there's actually a 6th grade alchemist. Su Hong, who is this person? The big shot said directly. At this moment, Su Hong was also dumbfounded. When did this happen? A grade 6 alchemist was refining pills. Now there were less than 10 grade 6 alchemists in the city. Half of them were in seclusion. 2 of them were in the palace, and one of them didn't make a move easily. He had retired from Jianghu for many years to recuperate. There was also the master of the Heavenly Star Medicine Manor. He had been wandering outside these years, and there was no trace of him. Other than that, there were no other grade 6 alchemists. There was also Tsang Chu from the Spirit Valley sect. That old guy was taken away by the people of the Spirit Valley sect. It was said that they paid a great price. Now the Longevity Pavilion was also making trouble for the Spirit Valley sect. The value of a grade 6 alchemist was comparable to 10 Yuan Emperor experts. If they could find a wild grade 6 alchemist and directly recruit him to the Heavenly Pill Pavilion, it would be a very good thing for the Heavenly Pill Pavilion. Although the old master of the Heavenly Pill Pavilion was a grade 6 alchemist, he hadn't shown up for a long time. His condition was not very good. If something happened, it would lead to a shortage of new alchemists. Wouldn't the problem be serious? Therefore, it was necessary to find a new grade 6 alchemist to take charge of the Heavenly Pill Pavilion. This, just when Su Hong himself was at a loss, Su Sha suddenly barged in. Elders, Deputy Pavilion Master, a grade 6 pill lightning has appeared in the city. According to the information, this alchemist is most likely the Imperial Alchemist, Li Zongjiu. Su Sha appeared at the door and said in surprise. For Su Sha, this was something that she couldn't believe, but the information showed it. The place where the pill lightning appeared was the Bailu Manor, where Li Zongjiu was. After knowing that it was Li Zongjiu, Su Sha didn't care who was in the meeting and directly rushed in. When she saw that the Vice Pavilion Master had personally come to the meeting, Su Sha knew that she was done for. Nonsense, who let you in? Get out! Su Hong immediately shouted in a low voice. After all, the Heavenly Pill Pavilion belonged to the Imperial Court. In the Heavenly Pill Pavilion, there was a strict system. If she barged in casually, she might be treated as an assassin and killed directly. Su Sha was about to leave and escape, but the Deputy Pavilion Master waved his hand. You just said, who is this grade 6 alchemist? The deputy pavilion master asked very seriously. Su Sha couldn't help but feel nervous. She had made a big mistake by barging in rashly today. She didn't want to bring any trouble to her grandfather. You don't have to worry. It's Li Zongjio. It must be him. The deputy pavilion master looked at Su Hong, and Su Hong quickly said, this person is a student of the Heavenly Star Medicine Manor. Some time ago, he won first place in the exchange competition between the 3 major alchemy academies and obtained an alchemist qualification certificate. It's all him. Su Hong, I don't care what methods you use. You must rope this person into our Heavenly Pill Pavilion. Su Hong's face was naturally filled with a trace of surprise. No matter what methods you use, the weight of this sentence was quite heavy. Yes, Deputy Pavilion Master. Su Hong quickly agreed. Soon after, he began to make preparations. No matter how one put it, this Pill Lightning Grand Banquet was definitely not to be missed. It was likely that there were many pairs of eyes within the city staring at Li Zongjio. As long as Li Zongjio appeared, there would definitely be a situation where everyone would fight over him. Chapter 717. At this moment, Li Zongjio was not disturbed by the outside world. When Nangong Wuji and the others sensed the appearance of the thunderclouds, they had already strengthened their defenses. During this process, they also prevented some people from taking advantage of the chaos to carry out some destructive actions. Hung Shursan also changed his usual mischievous smile and watched from a high place. Lu Wenshan, who was in the stable, personally felt the appearance of the pill lightning in front of him. He could barely open his eyes as the lightning flickered. However, Lu Wenshan's face was full of envy and admiration. This realm was also what Lu Wenshan was thinking. If he was the one facing the pill lightning today, how wonderful would it be? Given Li Zongjio's strength, today's pill lightning was enough to wake some people up. After all, there would always be some people who would think that Li Zongjio was just a young man who could be casually ignored. In fact, Li Zongjio's strength was there for all to see. A grade 6 alchemy master was enough to make a colossus like the imperial court pay attention to him. After all, if he was an primitive emperor expert, some people might have scruples about his previous background and who he had offended before running away. However, it was different for a grade 6 alchemy master. It did not matter who he had offended. As long as a grade 6 alchemy master came to seek refuge, no matter the price, they would have to make him stay. This was how strong and firm they were. It was absolutely impossible for a grade 6 alchemy master to seek refuge and then drive him out. Such a scene would definitely not occur. From now on, the people of Sacred Flame Royal City would also recognize the value of Li Zongjio. They would clearly realize the position that Li Zongjio could stand in. He was so arrogant and domineering. No wonder he's so young and frivolous. He's so capable. Lu Wenshan exclaimed. Tian Fei, who was sitting with Lu Wenshan, was also dumbfounded. Did he hear wrongly? A grade 6 alchemy master? The young master was a grade 6 alchemy master? Li Zongjio's strength was simply too terrifying. In fact, it had already reached a terrifying level. It was unbelievable. Naturally, it wouldn't be so simple. Everything Li Zongjio had experienced was equivalent to his cultivation. It had always been like this. These people could see how strong Li Zongjio's external cultivation was, but they didn't know what Li Zongjio had experienced. They could only treat it as Li Zongjio's demonic talent. From now on, another giant would definitely appear in Saint Flame Royal City. He did not look down on Li Zongjio because of his age. With Li Zongjio's strength, he was completely capable of standing on equal footing with the other big shots in the city. In the secret chamber, Li Zongjio stared intently at the Azura cauldron in front of him. With the strength of the Azura cauldron, it naturally had no problem withstanding the power of the grade 6 elixir. However, Li Zongjio felt that something was wrong. There seemed to be a wisp of remnant soul in the Azura cauldron, causing Li Zongjio to be unable to condense the elixir. How dare you compete with me for the elixir? How presumptuous! Li Zongjio slapped the Azura cauldron in front of him, and his mental strength immediately rushed into the Azura cauldron. When Li Zongjiu's mental strength opened up in the Azura cauldron, the flames that filled the sky gradually appeared in front of Li Zongjiu. Within the endless flames, there was a golden elixir that was brewing. However, it had not taken the final step. This was the longevity myriad yuan elixir that Li Zongjiu had painstakingly refined. From the longevity myriad yuan elixir, there was a surging life force. With the spread of this life force, the power that appeared would be coveted by any origin emperor powerhouse. This was a kind of quantitative change that led to qualitative change. Come out! Li Zongjiu's mental strength instantly swept through the flames in front of him like a storm. Behind him, the blood dragon was hovering. After all, the thing he was facing was not ordinary, and he could not be too careless. Although Li Zongjiu did not know the situation in front of him, Li Zongjiu could feel that the existence of this thing must be very strong. I didn't expect that such a small place could have such a method of refining elixir. Thanks to this elixir, it actually woke me up. An aged voice whizzed out from within the flames. Li Zongjiu's heart sank a little when he heard it. This was because it was just a voice, but it was as if the divine might of the heavens had descended. You're quite capable. Li Zongjiu felt the pressure descending. The surrounding flames that originally belonged to Li Zongjiu were actually mobilized by him at this moment. Boom! It was as if a heavenly aura had forced the surrounding flames away. Through the flickering flames, Li Zongjiu also saw a dark shadow coming towards Li Zongjiu. The blood dragon roared, turned around and blasted forward. Where did this reptile come from? Get lost! Immediately, a palm print, like the Buddha's Vajra, sent the blood dragon flying. Boom! The powerful blood dragon did not even engage in battle with the enemy before it was sent flying by the palm. After it fell to the ground, its body swayed, as if it would disappear at any moment. When Li Zongjiu saw this move, he was slightly surprised. The power of this move looked extremely extraordinary. Such a move was something that even Li Zongjiu had never seen before, so he was naturally surprised. However, when the person rushed in front of him, a terrifying devouring force attacked, as if it was about to devour Li Zongjiu. Immediately, Li Zongjiu reacted quickly. Desolate Heaven Essence. It was an ordinary swing of the stick, but it made the black shadow hurriedly retreat, quickly retreating to the rear. Damn it! How did you get such a divine item? The person's voice suddenly became sharp. Although it had only brushed past the black shadow, it seemed to have caused considerable damage to the latter. Li Zongjiu did not expect that the Desolate Heaven Essence would have such a miraculous effect on this person. There are many things that you can't imagine, Li Zongjiu said disdainfully. Immediately, the yuan beads in his body began to circulate rapidly. The blood dragon's soul, which had been dispirited, also became excited. Blood soul hell. When he used the Hell Prajna technique, the boundless power instantly trapped the black shadow. Boom! The black shadow was immediately alarmed. Small world technique. This is impossible. The black shadow shouted in excitement. However, after shouting, the black shadow heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, this wasn't the legendary small world technique, even though it was similar in form. However, the difference in power was like heaven and earth. Small world technique? They were in Li Zongjiu's blood soul hell. Therefore, no matter what the shadow did or said, it would be difficult for it to escape Li Zongjiu's eyes. From the beginning, Li Zongjiu felt that the person in front of him was somewhat strange. There was even a gap between their cultivation techniques. Most importantly, no matter who became like this, they had probably disappeared long ago. How could the person in front of him live until now with the power of a remnant soul? What exactly are you? Li Zongjiu said to the black shadow in front of him. The black shadow looked like a ghost. Between the top and bottom, only the head was clear. The lower the head, the more transparent it became. The legs were already in a state where they could not be seen. This appearance was extremely interesting. What am I? If you dared to say such words to me 200 years ago, you would have been a pile of minced meat. The person's tone was not small. Li Zongjiu could not help but sneer. You really think highly of yourself. Since you are unwilling to speak, there is no point in keeping you alive, Li Zongjiu said as he raised the Desolate Heaven Essence in his hand. He looked like he was about to hit the black shadow. However, the black soul screamed at this moment. Wait. Both of his hands were raised in front of his body, as if he was afraid that Li Zongjio's staff would come down and shatter his soul. Young man, for you to have such a cultivation level at such a young age, I will take you in as my disciple on account of your talent. The black soul boasted shamelessly, minding his own business. Following that, he even took the initiative to think about what to prepare for the apprenticeship ceremony. This surprised Li Zongjio. Could it be that the self-righteous cultivation of people nowadays had already reached such a level? It was an eye-opener for Li Zongjio. According to the rules of the apprenticeship ceremony, you need to prepare 500 virgin boys and 500 virgin girls for me. However, time is tight now, so you can just offer this golden core to me. The black soul said. Li Zongjio adjusted his body. When he saw the black soul's actions, he smashed the desolate heaven essence in his hand at the black soul's head. What are you doing? The black soul shrieked as it was instantly shattered by the power of the desolate heaven essence. When Li Zongjio saw the drifting energy, he couldn't help but be moved. Immediately, his mental strength spread out and collected the shattering power of the black soul. Letting this guy talk so much nonsense had already delayed Li Zongjio for a long time. Li Zongjio didn't come here to listen to this guy's stories. With such a cowardly attitude, Li Zongjio couldn't be bothered to say more. After collecting the surrounding soul fragments, Li Zongjio's mental strength moved, and he left the Azura Cauldron world. The elixir pill was still being baked outside. The use of these soul fragments was to allow Li Zongjio to know the memories within the fragments after refining them in the future. Compared to directly interrogating, it was naturally easier. When it came to doing things, he was never one to dawdle. Prepared to receive the power of the pill lightning, Li Zongjio's body returned to normal. Without the interference of the mysterious black soul, Li Zongjio began his final action. Immediately, with a slap of his hand, the medicine cauldron was sent flying. Then, Li Zongjio's body abruptly flew towards the barren mountain that belonged to him. This barren mountain was bought by Li Zongjio previously under the order of someone. Now this barren mountain was close to 1,000 mu in size. For Li Zongjio, it was already enough. Boom! Li Zongjio's body had just landed when the thunderclouds stopped brewing. Instead, it directly descended from the sky like a furious dragon descending to the world. The purple lightning struck Li Zongjio's Azura Cauldron. Li Zongjio's body also endured the terrifying power of the lightning. Crackle! Immediately, the power of the lightning spread over Li Zongjio's body. However, Li Zongjio was able to quickly refine this power. Ancient golden tyrant body art. This elemental art circulated crazily in his body, rapidly digesting the power of the lightning around his body. Comfortable. For ordinary people, this pill lightning was as terrifying as the god of death. However, for Li Zongjio, this pill lightning was the best thing to temper his body. The power of this pill lightning was not too strong. After all, it was just the pill lightning of a beginner grade 6 elixir. When it reached the intermediate grade 6 and advanced grade 6 elixir, it would be truly terrifying. When a grade 8 pill lightning appeared, it could already form a kind of energy that could destroy heaven and earth. Even a part of its power poured into this barren mountain. Immediately, the barren mountain rocks that they were sitting on were forcefully tempered. Some of the originally useless rocks in yellow soil also possessed a special power at this moment. A total of 7 pill lightning bolts fell in succession. One after another, they fell on Li Zongjio's body. When the pill lightning dissipated, many experts appeared in the vicinity of this barren mountain. However, with Nangong Wuji Hong Shirsan and the others here, they naturally would not act rashly. It's done. The 10,000 yuan longevity elixir. Li Zongjio's eyes revealed a trace of joy. After all, it took a lot of effort to refine this elixir. When a dazzling golden elixir appeared in front of his eyes, Li Zongjio's face revealed a smile. Li Zongjio, you killed my mystic Yuan sect's disciple. Today, my mystic Yuan sect will carry out the order to kill you. A rough voice suddenly reverberated throughout the heavens and earth. Chapter 7:18. A thunderous sound was heard. A sound that was far more violent than the sound of thunder came from afar. 7 figures swiftly charged over from the horizon in front of his eyes. These 7 figures were riding on raging lightning bolts. Hong Sher-san, who was at the side, immediately became agitated when he saw the surging lightning bolts appear. These damn things really took the initiative to come to me. Hong Sher-san immediately stomped the crutch in his hand on the ground, and an extremely terrifying aura rushed towards the 7 figures. Bastards of the Xianyuan sect, your grandfather is here. Hong Sher-san's Yuan Emperor aura spread out. Those who had gathered around to join in the fun also felt the terrifying murderous aura coming from Hong Sher-san. This old thing. Nangong Wuji stomped his foot. Couldn't he just bear with it and wait for a while before launching a sneak attack? Now that he had rushed out, what was the meaning of this? However, these people weren't a threat to Nangong Wuji and the others at all. The people who had come from the Xianyuan sect were a supervisor and 6 Xianyuan sect law enforcement guards. Judging from their attire, the person who had come was a law enforcement guard in black from the Xianyuan sect. Other than the supervisor in white and the law enforcement guard in black, who were Yuan emperors, the other 5 people were only at the peak of the Yuan monarch realm. The 7 of them were originally very aggressive and were ready to take down Li Zongjio in one go. After all, this kid had just displayed the strength of a grade 6 alchemist. If they did not take him down now, things would become even more miserable and complicated. This was because the appearance of a grade 6 alchemist would definitely make some forces go crazy. They would even be willing to face the pressure of the Xianyuan sect to ensure the safety of Li Zongjio. In this way, it would not be easy to kill Li Zongjio. Although the Xianyuan sect was the biggest sect in the Tianyuan province, its influence was limited after all. A strong dragon could not defeat a snake in its own territory. Once there was a conflict, it would naturally be difficult to settle it. It was already a very risky move for them to cross the border of a province to hunt Wuxia down. The Xianyuan sect also had its own enemies. If a large number of experts were sent out, the sect would be empty. They might be ambushed. Although the sect wouldn't be destroyed, it wouldn't be a problem for them to cause some damage to the sect. However, the sudden appearance of 2 primitive emperors shocked the Mystic Yuan sect and the others. The supervisor of the Mystic Yuan sect, Bai Jinghen, and the black-clothed law enforcement officer, Wei Xiongli. Behind him were 5 white-robed law enforcers, all of whom were peak Yuan monarchs. Even the 4 great families of the city might not be able to resist such a lineup easily. They would have to join forces at the very least. However, when they were trying to capture Li Zongjio, they actually encountered such a tough opponent, which surprised the 2 of them. This has nothing to do with you. It's a grudge between the Xianyuan sect and Li Zongjio. Do the 2 of you want to be enemies with the Xianyuan sect? Bai Jinghen said coldly. The 9 figures rose into the air and faced each other. However, the aura of Nangong Wuji and Nangong Wui was not inferior to Bai Jinghen and the others. The roar of the howling moon wolf king was heard from afar. Then, like a gust of wind, it brought Do Ling, and soared into the sky. They came to a position next to Nangong Wuji, staring at the menacing people in front of her. Do Linger's big, watery eyes suddenly became fierce. Are these people here to fight? Girls, stay back. Be careful, Nangong Wuji said hurriedly. Why would a little girl like her be needed for this kind of thing? If that was the case, it would be too embarrassing for them. Hong Sher-san looked at Bai Wuhing in front of him. Hey, do you think this is the Tianyuan province? What is the Xianyuan sect? Hong Sher-san said disdainfully. Although Hong Sher-san's main enemy was the sect master of the Xianyuan sect, Hong Sher-san did not mind killing a few of these lackeys who bullied others and looked down on others. He wanted to collect some interest first. You're courting death. Xiongli was about to rush up. He was wearing a pair of iron finger gloves, and his wrists were as thick as an ordinary person's thigh. He looked extremely fierce. However, when Xiongli was about to attack, he saw the crutch in Hong Sher-san's hand. You are Hong Sher-san. Xiongli recognized the crutch. He immediately said in surprise. Years ago, this crutch killed an elder of the Xianyuan sect. It could be said that it was a very serious incident that happened in the Xianyuan sect. Looking at Hong Sher-san's appearance now, although his face was full of stubble, His eyes were full of hatred. It could be more or less recognized that the person in front of him was Hong Shisan, who was hunted down by the Xianyuan sect in the past. Since you still recognize your grandfather, why don't you kneel down and kowtow to him? Hong Shisan said. He was not in a hurry to take action. In any case, there would be a battle sooner or later. Today, these people obviously wanted to launch a sneak attack on Li Zhongjiu. All he needed to do was to block these people and wait for Li Zhongjiu to recover. Everyone, this is the sacred Flame Royal City. You can't mess around here. Unknowingly, two black-clothed and golden-armored figures appeared not far away from them. Seeing the two men's attire and the looming gold medal on their waists, these people were slightly shocked. Top secret guards. The Xingyan dynasty was the fiercest and most powerful organization. The outside world did not know how many experts there were in this organization. This was because every time there was an enemy that could not be dealt with, a more powerful figure would appear among the top secret guards to solve the problem. Later on, the top secret guard had become an extremely powerful deterrent. One time, they had captured a wanted criminal who had killed dozens of people. This person was also the young lord of a first-class sect. However, on that day, the top secret guard had only dispatched 2 people, and they had swaggered the wanted criminal away from the first-class sect. Otherwise, this first-rate sect would only end up being annihilated. Bai Jingheng saw the appearance of the 2 top secret guards. He knew that there was something fishy going on. The top secret guards were in such a hurry that there must be someone behind them. Today, they wanted to take Li Zhongjiu's life, but they had already missed the opportunity. He exchanged a glance with Xiong. He had already made up his mind to leave now and make a decision later. We were too impulsive. However, the Mystic Yuan sect will not let him off easily for killing our men. Tell Li Zhongjiu to wash his neck and wait for us. As Xiong spoke, he sounded like a ferocious lion roaring in a low voice, which was very shocking. Nangong Wuji and Hong Shisan did not pursue the matter. After all, the other party outnumbered them. If a fight really broke out, the odds of victory would not be high. Furthermore, the 5 peak Yuan monarchs were not to be trifled with. If they were in their Yuan spirit state, their destructive power would be boundless. Let's go. Xiong waved his hand and prepared to leave with his men. However, at that moment, a voice was heard from the top of the barren mountain. You came to my private territory and let out a few farts. How can I, Li Zhongjiu, continue to show my face if the world finds out? Chapter 719. As soon as he said that, a shadow came from the top of the mountain. Li Zhongjiu tapped his feet lightly, and his figure appeared in front of everyone. Many people who had never seen Li Zhongjiu before were trying their best to remember Li Zhongjiu's appearance. This was a 6th-grade alchemist who was extremely popular in the city. Even if they couldn't make friends with him, they couldn't afford to offend him. Facing an alchemist, there was such pressure. Li Zhongjiu's figure appeared at an extremely fast speed. Even the primitive emperors couldn't see Li Zhongjiu's movements clearly. The 2 top secret guards looked at Li Zhongjiu. Private territory? This was what they were concerned about. If this was a private property, then some of the fierce fights would have nothing to do with them. In Royal City, fighting and even any violent incidents were prohibited. Once discovered, it would be strictly investigated. However, there were too many grudges in Jianghu. It wasn't easy to deal with all of them. Violent incidents also happened from time to time. There was also a very special rule. If you trespassed into other people's private territory and were beaten to death, the imperial court wouldn't pursue the matter. After all, if you went to provoke them, the people in Jianghu wouldn't follow so many rules. You could bring people to kill people in other people's families, but the range of activity must be within the private territory. Once others ran to the main street, you couldn't do anything. If you did, it would be investigated, and you would bear the crime of murder. The consequences were quite serious. Although this place was a barren mountain, it had become Li Zhongjiu's private property. It had been bought by Li Zhongjiu. Therefore, it wouldn't be a problem for Li Zhongjiu to kill the people in front of him. The 2 top secret guards seemed to have discussed for a while before they left. When there was no murder, there was no need for the top secret guard to show up. Only when there was a problem would the top secret guard appear to solve it. Today, he had received special instructions from someone to protect Li Zongjio. But now it seemed that they were no longer needed. Bai Jingheng and Xiong Lei grinned sinisterly when they saw the two top secret guards leave. They were simply digging their own graves. Initially, the Mystic Yuan sect did not want to break the rules. However, now that Li Zongjio had taken the initiative to jump out and seek death, they could not be blamed for being cruel. Hehe, you must be Li Zongjio. Are you going to come with us yourself? Or do you want us to break your legs and take you away? Xiong laughed coldly. At the same time, he touched the gloves in his hands. When he looked at Li Zongjio, he seemed to be imagining the scene of Li Zongjio being beaten to a pulp. Li Brat, these people are not simple, Nangong Wuji said in a deep voice. Li Zongjio had used some unknown method to kill Xiao Yuan and the others that day. However, the strength of these people was not simple. They were not as simple as Xiao Yuan. These people were specialized in carrying out some ferocious missions, facing extremely ferocious characters. Their combat experience was definitely not comparable to trash like Xiao Yuan. Even the strength of the 5 white-clothed law enforcement guards was enough to kill Xiao Yuan easily. The level of the people they were facing now was not the same. Hehe, you are quite confident. You are all from the Mystic Yuan sect, right? It just so happens that my barren mountain needs some blood to water it. I can only ask you for help. Li Zongjio said immediately. As soon as he finished speaking, his figure charged towards Xiong Lei. Boom! Li Zongjio's movement was extremely fast. However, Xiong Lei and the others were not ordinary people. Moreover, the gap between Li Zongjio and Li Zongjio's realm was relatively large. When Xiong Lei saw that Li Zongjio was attacking him, the corners of his mouth curved into a sneer. You are really overestimating yourself. The 5 of you, take care of those 2. Leave him to me. Xiong Lei also made a solemn vow. He rolled up his sleeves and rushed towards Li Zongjio. In Xiong Lei's eyes, Li Zongjio was just a jumping clown. Facing Li Zongjio, who was rushing towards him, Xiong Lei directly raised his fist. Boom! The air seemed to be compressed by Xiong Lei's strength. He directly pressed Li Zongjio's body onto his fist. When he was about to kill Li Zongjio with a punch, he suddenly realized that Li Zongjio's body had disappeared. Boom! A terrifying force directly penetrated Li Zongjio's afterimage and spread 100 meters away. The surging fist aura was like boiling magma. It was as if it was going to roast the sky. He escaped really fast. Heaven and earth overturning fist. Xiong Lei immediately waved his fist around him. Immediately, a terrifying force filled the air. As the surroundings trembled, it forced a figure in front of him. It was as if the figure was about to be crushed by this force. Desolate heaven essence, break for me. Li Zongjio used the hidden dragon art under his feet. His body entered an ethereal state and reached the extreme. His figure appeared and outlined a state of Mount Sumeru in the sky. The formless space became Li Zongjio's stepping stone and was also an excellent hiding place. Boom! The desolate heaven essence carried the heaven-crushing force. It was like a 10,000-foot-tall mountain sweeping across. The aura of the mountain blocked all the fists that were constantly thundering out, easily dispersing all the power. Even Xiong Lei's eyes revealed a trace of astonishment. Good weapon. But this weapon is not something you can control. Overlord's Cauldron. A dazzling flame immediately emerged from Xiong Lei's body. Behind Xiong Lei, a gigantic flaming golden tortoise appeared. The golden tortoise stood on its feet and bravely used its hands to block the attack. This action immediately formed a terrifying aura. It was as if he had easily resolved the might of the thousands of mountains on Li Zongjio's body. But in fact, Xiong Lei had overestimated his own strength and underestimated the power of the desolate heaven essence. When the pair of tortoise palms landed on the aura formed by the desolate heaven essence, they began to be crushed. Pung! Xiong Lei's body was sent flying by the force. Puff! Xiong Lei spat out a mouthful of blood, and then his body was sent flying backwards. Pung! His body fell from the sky and smashed into the barren mountain. Oh my god, only one move! Hong Shursan was extremely shocked when he saw this scene. He could not believe his eyes. This scene was simply too exciting. The weapon in Li Zongjio's hand was simply a divine weapon. A casual wave of the weapon was enough to cripple Xiong. You're courting death. Immediately, the law enforcers behind him rushed forward. The 5 of them took the lead and rushed towards Li Zongjio. When the 5 of them moved, Hong Shursen did not hesitate. He held the seemingly old crutch in his hand and enveloped the 5 of them with his aura. You people, I already said that I don't need your help. Hong Shursen said faintly, blocking the people in front of him. Form the annihilation array. One of them said. The 4 people behind him immediately surrounded Hong Shursen. They took out their swords and pointed them at Hong Shursen. It's still the same old trick. Hong Shursen was no stranger to the annihilation array. He did not expect that after so many years, these people had not made any progress. You and I don't need to fight. Nangong Wuji looked at Bai Jinghen and said, Don't force me to hit you. Bai Jinghen looked arrogant and proud, which was exactly what Nangong Wuji hated the most. If he was still at the peak of his cultivation, he would not have waited for these people to act arrogantly in front of him. If he did not speak, he would have slapped each of them if they dared to speak. If it was 10 years ago, Nangong Wuji would be more arrogant than Li Zongjio. Offend the Mystic Yuan sect for this brat? Nangong Wuji, do you think that the Imperial Extreme Hall, which you rely on, will help you? You think I need the Imperial Palace to fight you? You think too highly of yourself. I advise you to get lost quickly. That little brat will really kill you. Chapter 720. Nangong Wuji tried to persuade him. Do Ling who was standing at the side, was also about to make a move. However, she was forcefully held back by Nangong Wuji. If they were to rush out, and something were to happen to them, how would he explain himself? One should know that these 2 people were also disciples of his Heavenly Star Medicine Manor. After all, Nangong Wuji was an elder of the Heavenly Star Medicine Manor. Other than staring at Bai Jinghen, he was also paying attention to Li Zongjio's situation. Xiong landed on the mountain peak. Li Zongjio followed closely behind, not giving Xiong a chance to catch his breath. The desolate heaven essence slammed heavily on Xiong body. At this moment, Xiong was surrounded by the power of the blazing golden-armored tortoise. He was able to block Li Zongjio's attack. Wang. However, Xiong did not fare well either. After this attack, he spat out a mouthful of blood, which was mixed with fragments of his internal organs. Damn it! Xiong felt as if his bones were about to shatter. His eyes were filled with fear. Immediately, he hurriedly got up and wanted to escape. However, just as he got up and ran a short distance, he found that Li Zongjio was already blocking his way. Run! It's too late. Li Zongjio's lips curled into a sneer. Xiong, who still had a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth, clutched his chest to prevent his injuries from worsening. However, he was still trying his best to fight his way out. He immediately stomped his foot and charged towards Li Zongjio. Boom! Sky-soaring cannon. After running, Xiong suddenly soared into the sky. The blazing golden-armored tortoise behind him seemed to have retracted its power, leaving only a tortoise shell behind as it charged forward. Li Zongjio smiled disdainfully. He had let this guy live for too long. Blood soul hell. The power of hell spread out. Immediately, Xiong figure was enveloped by it. Xiong instantly entered an extremely peculiar space. Within this space, Xiong qi and blood power seemed to be ignited rapidly. Boom! Xiong was completely unable to break free from the shackles. When he realized that he was in such a realm, Xiong was terrified. This is the power of a realm. Who are you? Before Xiong could finish his words, his throat was pierced by a flying dagger. Xiong gaze also stopped there, only leaving an extremely small gap at the throat. After the vast flying knife made a circle, it returned to Li Zongjio's hand. I'll use your blood to nourish my mountain. As his voice fell, a few more streams of essence force directly chopped off Xiong 4 limbs. PFFF. Lei's bodies Xiong's toes to stop Xiong S2 heeses his blood flowed his SSS2. Let's do. The energy contained in the fresh blood of a primitive emperor was rather terrifying. This was originally a barren mountain. However, after being struck by lightning and nourished by the blood of a primitive emperor, This barren mountain had already possessed extraordinary attributes. Xiong Bai Jinghen couldn't help but cry out when he saw Xiong Lei's miserable state. Xiong Lei would have died in vain if Bai Jinghen hadn't intervened. When Nangong Wuji saw Bai Jinghen's miserable state, he couldn't help but feel a little shocked. Li Zongjie was really ruthless. Bai Jinghen was most likely dead. Such an attitude was in line with Nangong Wuji's temper. This kid is really ruthless. Dou Ling immediately turned her head when she saw this scene. Oh my god, there's blood! Dou Ling was almost scared out of her wits. She became very nervous and quickly closed her eyes. If she saw the blood, who knew what would happen? Get out of my way! Bai Jinghen wanted to rush out, but he was blocked by Nangong Wuji's open palm. He couldn't get close to Xiong Lei for a long time. He could only watch as Xiong Lei gradually lost his vitality. How dare you! Bai Jinghen roared angrily. A giant white-furred ape suddenly emerged. Bai Jinghen's strength was also condensed to the extreme. When he saw Nangong Wuji standing in front of him, Bai Jinghen raised his fists and hammered downwards. Boom! However, Nangong Wuji didn't panic when he saw the terrifying power approaching him. As his hands moved, a wave of surging yuan power immediately formed a layer of reincarnation graphite in front of him, easily blocking this wave of energy. Boom! 4 ounces deflected 1,000 caddies. That terrifying force was completely diverted to the side by this profound qi. Nangong Wuji, this is your choice. Don't blame me for being impolite. Bai Jinghen was thoroughly enraged when Nangong Wuji made his move. Impolite? Then why don't you do it? A contemptuous voice sounded from the side. Both Nangong Wuji and Bai Jinghen were taken aback. Where did this kid come from? Even Nangong Wuji was shocked. He hadn't stared at Li Zongjie for a second, and had already arrived beside him. Li Zongjie didn't hesitate to throw out the desolate heaven essence as soon as he appeared. Boom! The desolate heaven essence moved and came crashing down like 1,000 mountains. At that moment, Bai Jinghen finally realized how terrifying and despairing the situation Xiong Lei had faced was. Damn it! Even Bai Jinghen couldn't help but curse out loud. Then, Bai Jinghen also felt a great pressure, and was directly overwhelmed by this power. Bang! Bai Jinghen's body was sent flying. However, the Great Ape Origin Spirit reached out and caught Bai Jinghen. The Great Ape Origin Spirit moved a considerable distance back, and stared fiercely at Li Zongjie. After putting Bai Jinghen aside, the Great Ape Origin Spirit pounded its chest, and stomped its feet as it charged at Li Zongjie. From the looks of it, he seemed to be eager to tear Li Zongjie apart. Let me! Nangong Wuji was also prepared to show his skills. He immediately blocked the Great Ape Origin Spirit's path with a flash of his body. Li Zongjie glanced at Hong Shi-san, who was fighting with the 5 white-clothed law enforcers in the sky. If you can't kill these 5 people within 100 breaths, you will leave White Deer Manor. Li Zongjie said indifferently. Hong Shi-san was unhappy when he heard this. This kid was clearly provoking him. Did he really think that he could look down on old masters like them just because he had some skills? It seemed like he couldn't continue to hide from Hong Shi-san. Otherwise, Li Zongjie would really think that he was old and weak. Whirlwind staff technique, straight to the root of the problem. Hong Shi-san growled. Immediately, the stick in his hand became fierce and violent in an instant. Rumble. Immediately, the gale seemed to carry sharp blades. The law enforcers, who were discussing how to take Hong Shi-san down, were immediately shrouded by the gale, and turned into a pile of minced meat floating in the air. Was this the legendary whirlwind staff technique? He had killed 5 peak yuan monarch experts in an instant. In the eyes of others, this magnificent feat was simply an extremely shocking operation. However, Li Zongjie only nodded reluctantly. It was still somewhat useful. Chapter 721. Damn it! Bai Jinghen could not help but curse when he saw that the 5 of them had been killed by Hong Shi-san. Could it be that the name of the Mystic Yuan sect was no longer useful? How dare these people kill the people of the Mystic Yuan sect so wantonly? Hong Shi-san, the Mystic Yuan sect will not let you off. Bai Jinghen shouted angrily. However, he immediately turned around and fled. Unfortunately, it was too late. Li Zongjio had appeared above Bai Jinghen's head without anyone noticing. Bai Jinghen was immediately enraged when he saw Li Zongjio appear. "Do you really think that I can't beat you?" Bai Jinghen took out a gourd called the Golden Sword Gourd. It was a magic weapon that could transform into a flying sword. Bai Jinghen blew at the gourd. Suddenly, the gourd in his hand turned into a shining sword of light and flew directly towards Li Zongjio. Although they were only 100 meters apart, the flying sword flashed with a cold light. Ha! Li Zongjio felt the power of the flying sword and immediately used the hidden dragon skill. However, the flying sword's speed suddenly increased, making it difficult for him to escape. Then Li Zongjio released the power of the bloody soul hell. He wanted to forcibly trap the flying sword. However, the power of the flying sword instantly shattered Li Zongjio's bloody soul hell. Boom! The hell, which was not very sturdy to begin with, was instantly shattered. However, the flying sword was also crushed by the power of the hell. When the bloody soul hell was shattered, Li Zongjio was obviously severely injured. When he saw the scene in front of him, he suddenly realized that the power of hell that he had painstakingly built had been destroyed by this idiot. This was a provocation to Li Zongjio. Bai Jinghen was extremely shocked to see that Li Zongjio was still alive. The gourd flying sword was a life-saving item that he had spent a lot of money to buy in the black market. Even an expert of the same level as him, a second-grade primitive emperor, would have an 80% chance of being killed instantly. It was that powerful. However, when he saw Li Zongjio standing in front of him, unscathed, Bai Jinghen could not believe it. Bai Jinghen naturally would not use the gourd flying sword unless he had no other choice. He had never imagined that Li Zongjio would be able to block it. "You, what kind of monster are you?" Bai Jinghen pointed at Li Zongjio as he spoke. As for Li Zongjio, he put away the desolate heaven essence in his hand. His eyes were burning with anger. "You really deserve to die." The bright and resplendent golden light on his fist was also releasing energy. When it appeared in his hand, Li Zongjio could feel the power of the Golden Dragon Origin Spirit. The Golden Dragon Origin Spirit slowly rose behind Li Zongjio. A supreme majesty was released from the Golden Dragon's body. Wang! In an instant, even the birds and beasts that were tens of thousands of miles away could feel the deterrence from the sovereign dragon tribe. Just a breath was enough to make them tremble in fear. Finally, Li Zongjio released the Golden Dragon Origin Spirit in front of everyone for the first time. That kid! Nangong Wuji's face reflected the golden light as he looked at the Golden Dragon Origin Spirit. The shock he felt was indescribable. What a terrifying aura. It's actually the Dragon Clan's origin spirit, Hong Shursan said in a daze. No wonder Li Zongjio exuded such a powerful aura. Hong Shursan was completely shocked when he learned that Li Zongjio's strength was so terrifying. The Golden Dragon Origin Spirit not only represented Li Zongjio's powerful strength, but also represented Li Zongjio's brilliant future. After today, Li Zongjio's fame would spread all over the world. The Golden Dragon Origin Spirit. How domineering! This was the path that was destined to lead to a brilliant future. Bai Jinghen stared blankly at the golden dragon while his white ape origin spirit retreated. Although the white ape origin spirit was terrified, and its instincts told it to flee, it still stayed by Bai Jinghen's side to protect him. It stared at Li Zongjio. Die! As his voice faded, Li Zongjio's body abruptly fell downwards along with the golden dragon. His fists contained an unparalleled majesty. Bai Jinghen was confident that he could block this punch. Although Li Zongjio's origin spirit was of good quality, it was not on the same level in terms of strength. Therefore there was still hope. However, when Bai Jinghen saw Li Zongjio's eyes, his body stiffened. His body involuntarily stiffened on the spot. Even the white ape did not resist as it stood there in a daze. The evil soul eye. Li Zongjio usually hid his talent power very well, and rarely displayed it. However, this time, he did not hesitate to release it, and completely fixed Bai Jinghen's body. Buzz! Bai Jinghen's body stiffened for a second. From an outsider's point of view, Bai Jinghen seemed to have been scared out of his wits. In fact, Bai Jinghen could feel everything that was happening in front of him. When the power fell and bombarded his body, Bai Jinghen felt pain. He felt as if he was being torn apart. No. Bai Jinghen's cry came from the bottom of his heart. He had no chance to do anything. Li Zhongjie's fist hit Bai Wuhan's head. The overbearing power instantly poured into Bai Wuhan's body and tore it apart. Boom! Bai Wuhan's body exploded into pieces. Blood and flesh splattered everywhere. Such a heroic scene, in the eyes of anyone, was like a bloody firework. When the fist landed, it meant that all the people from the mystic Yuan sect had died at the hands of Li Zhongjie and the others. Li Zhongjie and the others did not need to bear any responsibility, as the place where they died was where Li Zhongjie belonged. On the mountain peak, Xiong Lei, who was soaked in blood, also closed his eyes. The people of White Deer Manor were fighting the mystic Yuan sect. The sudden outbreak of the bloody battle had caught everyone by surprise. Even the rule that primitive emperors were not allowed to fight was broken. However, no one said anything about it. Haha, this feels so good. Hong Shursen laughed heartily. For him, today was the best day of his life in the past few years. It could even be said that it was a hearty day. Chapter 722. In the past, although Hong Shursan had the cultivation of an origin king, he had not dared to confront the mystic Yuan sect head-on. Killing a few Yuan monarchs was not a big deal to the mystic Yuan sect. However, the people he had killed today were extremely important figures in the mystic Yuan sect. Just the fall of these two primitive emperors was enough to make Hong Shursen overjoyed. Killing the 5 law enforcers also made him feel better. Even before Li Zhongjie had made his move, Hong Shursen might not have dared to kill them. After all, he had not made sufficient preparations. Otherwise, these people could have gathered a terrifying force and killed him at any time. Hong Shursen still wanted to take revenge, so he could not die like this. However, Li Zhongjie's words had encouraged him at that moment. If he did not dare to take action when his enemies were right in front of him, there was no need to talk about killing Gong Wuliang in the future. Perhaps he would even be too scared to move when he saw his enemies. Finally, he was able to take his revenge. This is just some interest. One day I, Hong Shursan, will wipe out the entire mystic Yuan sect. Hong Shursan made up his mind. For many years, the mystic Yuan sect had been hiding in Monarch City. Therefore, they had not specifically come to deal with Hong Shursan. After all, it was good that Hong Shursan was hiding here. As long as he did not continue to harass the mystic Yuan sect, it did not matter if he remained in exile. Unexpectedly, Hong Shursan's temperament changed drastically after he found Li Zhongjie. He had not killed his enemies for many years. Now he had finally settled the matter. Hong Shursan thought to himself, haha, boy, you are really brave. You even dared to kill the people of the mystic Yuan sect. Nangong Wuji admired Li Zhongjie's way of doing things. After all, he had been like this in the past. After being poisoned, he had become rather low-key. At the same time, he had also comprehended a lot of things during this process. The more he comprehended, the more he believed that his actions were right. If there was a grudge, he had to take revenge. If he kept waiting, when would there be an end? If Li Zhongjie's place becomes a place where others can come and go as they please, how can I establish myself in the future? Li Zhongjie said indifferently. Although killing these people would cause a lot of trouble, if he didn't kill them, they would come to kill him. Therefore, he had to strike first to gain the upper hand. However, given the strength that you have displayed today, there will definitely be many people who will want to protect you. You don't have to worry. Even if the Xian Yuan sect comes, they won't dare to do anything. Nangong Wuji said slowly. At the same time, he was also curiously sizing up Li Zhongjie. You really managed to refine a 6th grade medicinal pill. Li Zhongjie didn't waste any time. He stretched out his hand, and the 10,000 yuan longevity elixir appeared in his hand. When Nangong Wuji and the others saw the elixir, their eyes lit up. This was a 6th grade medicinal pill. Such a young 6th grade alchemist. For any faction, it was extremely precious. Congratulations, Li Xiao. Nangong Wuji and the others didn't finish their words. Someone rushed out impatiently and flew toward Li Zhongjie and the others. I didn't expect to see you again on the day of your breakthrough. I'm late to congratulate you. Please accept this Millennium Phoenix grass as a congratulatory gift. Feng Tingfei appeared in front of Li Zongjio with a smile. When Li Zongjio and the others saw Feng Tingfei, they weren't surprised at all. Take it. Let's go down. Li Zongjio and the others flew out and returned to the White Deer Manor. Feng Tingfei also handed over the Millennium Phoenix grass. Yinghu stepped forward and took the box. Even among the grade 6 medicinal herbs, the Millennium Phoenix grass was considered a top-notch existence. This showed that the 100 Medicine Pavilion was quite generous. They weren't stingy at all. The 100 Medicine Pavilion is really generous. It's a 6th grade medicinal pill. Nangong Wuji said jokingly. One had to know that in order to find these medicinal herbs, it could be said that he had gone through untold hardships to piece together these medicinal herbs. Now the 100 Medicine Pavilion gave him a 6th grade medicinal herb. How could Nangong Wuji feel good about it? Haha, if Master Nangong is interested, you can come to our 100 Medicine Pavilion at any time. Feng Tingfei didn't dare to leave Nangong Wuji behind. One must know that Nangong Wuji's identity wasn't simple. Although he had been silent for a long time, and now he suddenly emerged, his former majesty was still there. It would be great if he could draw Nangong Wuji to his side. This is the place where Master Li lives. We're from the Myriad Spirits Immortal Shop. We're here to congratulate Master Li on his breakthrough. We'll give you a bottle of Changbai Mountain's Millennium Clear Spring. 3 white-bearded old men appeared at the door. Li Zongjio motioned for Yinghu to open the door. Today, his White Deer Manor naturally couldn't be peaceful. Steward Feng, you're so fast. You're here so early. The 3 of you are so diligent. It's rare to see you here. But today, the 3 of you are here at the same time. It's really rare. The people from the Myriad Spirits Immortal Shop also arrived. 2 of the 3 herbal medicine merchants of the Xingyan dynasty had arrived. Wu Qifeng of the 10 Directions Medicine Hall is here to congratulate Master Li. He brings a pair of ancient Chow Chow teeth and an inch of white cloud camphor wood. Someone from the 10 Directions Medicine Hall also came. It was Wu Qifeng, the Vice Hall Master of the 10 Directions Medicine Hall. He controlled the herbal medicine business of at least 10 first-class cities. When such a person went out, he would be protected by experts. But now Wu Qingfeng came alone. The rest of the people looked at him with new eyes. Wu Qingfeng was really good at giving out favors. The 3 herbal medicine giants had already gathered at Li Zongjio's White Deer Manor. Lu Wenshan, who was hiding in the stable, saw this scene and his eyes were full of envy. Although the gap between a 6th grade alchemist and a 5th grade alchemist was only a small step, it was a big step. It was definitely not an ordinary thing to take this step forward. One step could reach the sky. If he, Lu Wenshan, could have such an opportunity, he would have no regrets in his life. Tian Fei, who was beside him, was trembling. When he saw the sex law enforcement guards come, he was so scared that he didn't dare to show up. After all, Tian Fei knew the methods of these law enforcement guards. But he didn't expect that these ferocious law enforcement guards would be killed by Li Zongjio and the others. Tian Fei was truly shocked by the leeway in which the situation could be reversed. It could even be said that it was too fast. It was completely unimaginable. Li Zongjio and the others were actually so strong. There were many people outside who came to congratulate them, and also brought a lot of gifts. Li Zongjio accepted all of them, and didn't leave out a single one. Why would he be embarrassed to accept these gifts that were sent to his doorstep? As for if he wanted to find Li Zongjio for help in the future, he would have to pay. Anyway, this thing was given by you. I didn't ask you for it. Only the weak would care about the exchange of favors. A strong person like Li Zongjio wouldn't care about these things. When the time came, if he didn't like you and didn't want to help you, then he would just not help you. What could you do? Only when you become a real strong person, then others would ask you for help. Otherwise, no matter how many favors you gave them, if they didn't want to talk to you, then they wouldn't want to talk to you. The gifts have been delivered. You can leave first. If there's anything in the future, we'll talk about it later. Li Zongjio said directly to the people in front of him. The arrival of these people made Li Zongjio's White Deer Manor seem a little crowded. Master Li, you have just broken through and still need to consolidate. We won't disturb you. and we'll take our leave first. If Master Li needs anything in the future, feel free to look for me, Wu Qingfeng, at 10 Direction Medicine Hall. The rest of the people were still in a daze, but Wu Qingfeng was the first to speak. He cupped his fists at Li Zhongjie and left immediately. Need anything? This was quite a big request. Just 10 minutes ago, Li Zhongjie, Nangong Wuji, and the others had directly killed 2 Yuan emperors and 5 peak Yuan monarchs from the mystic Yuan sect. Before this, if they investigated a little, Li Zhongjie would be responsible for the death of the mystic Yuan sect's young sect master. Chapter 723. Although Wu Qingfeng came alone, anyone could see that the sincerity of Tenfang Medicine Hall was the greatest. As for the rest of the people, they naturally said their goodbyes and left one after another. It was enough for them to leave a good impression in front of Li Zhongjie. If there were any problems in the future, they would be able to take care of it. At least now, Li Zhongjie did not refuse them to come in. Master Li, then we will leave first. See you at the Dark Horse Pill competition. Feng Tingfei was smiling in his heart. When he was in the 10,000 T villa, he accidentally made such a connection with Li Zhongjie. Since Li Zhongjie represented their 100 Medicine Hall, it could be said that the 100 Medicine Hall was now assured of victory. If that Grandmaster Lan died, then so be it. Look, even now, no one came to avenge him. What was there to say about such a thing? Fortunately, he had promised Li Zhongjie before, and his relationship with Li Zhongjie was not too stiff. Feng Tingfei felt quite lucky about this. As the saying goes, the pavilion closest to the water enjoys the moonlight first. Now was a better opportunity to directly draw Li Zhongjie to the 100 Medicine Hall. Compared to others, their 100 Medicine Hall's chances were naturally higher. The rest of the people could only envy at this time. Moreover, what these people wanted to know was that they would also be facing Li Zhongjie in this Dark Horse Alchemy meeting. This was undoubtedly a very challenging thing. Such a young level 6 alchemist. It wasn't easy for them to find a 6th grade alchemist to help them. And this big opportunity was picked up by their 100 Medicine Hall. Today, Feng Tingfei had definitely made a great contribution. Obviously, Li Zhongjie did not mean to invite these people to sit down and chat. So soon, these people left. These people are really amazing. In such a short time, they have made so many treasures. You've made a killing this time. Nangong Wuji also looked at Li Zhongjie enviously. However, he had experienced such a day before. Back then, when he broke through to the 6th grade Origin Emperor realm, it was incomparably glorious. The number of people who came to congratulate him was no less than 100. The scene was much more spectacular than this. After he was poisoned, not many people were willing to lend him a helping hand. Heavenly Pill Pavilion. Su Hong requests an audience. Su Hong said from outside the manor. Elder Su Hong actually came personally. Li Zhongjie took the initiative to open the door and welcomed Su Hong in. Li Zhongjie was also very optimistic about Su Hong's words. After all, this person was a good person, and treated Li Zhongjie sincerely. In addition, he also strongly supported Li Zhongjie. Within the scope of his duties, Li Zhongjie could naturally see that. The Heavenly Pill Pavilion is here too? Nangong Wuji and Hong Shirsen looked at each other. Obviously, Li Zhongjie's action this time was also very big. It even attracted the attention of the Heavenly Pill Pavilion. Only Su Hong came, which also showed that the people of the Heavenly Pill Pavilion were relatively arrogant. Similar to the Jianghu forces, the people who came were also second in command. Although Su Hong was a Director General Elder, he was not the main management after all. He was only responsible for these matters. His position was similar to that of the principal elder of the Xinyuan sect, Xiao Yuan. Take a seat. There are not many stools. At this moment, Tianfei was very sensible. He went into the house and brought out some tables and chairs, and placed them in the courtyard for these big shots to sit down. From this point, it could be seen that Li Zhongjie's attitude towards these people was very different. Among the people who came, the ones who could bring more benefits to Li Zhongjie were naturally the representatives of the 3 big herb merchants. Even Wu Qifeng came in person. It should be known that Wu Qifeng was the second in command of the Vice Hall Master level. With just a word, he could multiply Li Zongjiu's value. However, even such a person could not sit in Li Zongjiu's house. On the contrary, after Su Hong came, he received such treatment, which was unbelievable. It should be known that with Su Hong's identity and age, he would gradually decline to the second in command in 5 or 6 years. He would not even be able to worry about the affairs of the Heavenly Pill Pavilion. I'll get straight to the point. The Heavenly Pill Pavilion wants to invite you to join us. After Su Hong sat down, the first thing he said was straightforward. Su Hong's style of negotiation was really simple and clear. He went straight to the point. Hong Shisan and Nangong Wuji were also quite surprised. Just now, a large group of people did not directly state this point. They were all very secretive about it. What benefits can you give me? Li Zongjiu also directly said. He was not reserved at all. The two people at the side were dumbfounded. The Heavenly Pill Pavilion will help you suppress the matter of the Xianyuan sect. In addition, if you are willing, you can first come to the Heavenly Pill Pavilion and become a technique imparting elder. Technique imparting elder. This position required at least a grade 5 alchemist with dozens of years of experience. If this position was given, it would be equivalent to becoming a signboard of the Heavenly Pill Pavilion. However, this technique imparting elder would have to give lectures regularly. However, after becoming a technique imparting elder, he would be able to enjoy the corresponding benefits of the Heavenly Pill Pavilion. Moreover, Li Zongjiu had a grudge against the Xianyuan sect. So far, the lives of 3 primitive emperors and the young sect master were in the hands of Li Zongjiu. Since it was so serious, they would at least fight to the death. However, the Heavenly Pill Pavilion was still willing to protect Li Zongjiu. There were bound to be many more things involved in this. They never thought that the Heavenly Pill Pavilion would be so generous. In the eyes of Nangong Wuji and the others, the Heavenly Pill Pavilion was already very good as an institution directly under the dynasty. There is no need to become a technique imparting elder. I don't have that much time. Li Zongjiu said. Joining the Heavenly Pill Pavilion was also something that Li Zongjiu had planned for a long time. There was naturally no harm in having a good relationship with the Shengyan dynasty. Even after 3,000 years, the Shengyan dynasty was still at its peak. It could be seen that the only outcome of going against the Shengyan dynasty was to be destroyed. For example, the Qingyuan villa was destined to not be far from death. Speaking of the Qingyuan villa, it had to be mentioned that if Li Zongjiu was slightly free, he would definitely destroy the Qingyuan villa. There was also the poison sect of the southern region. Li Zongjiu would not let any of them go. For many lone wolves, joining some forces seemed to tie their legs and restrict their freedom. However, in fact, this was an extremely stupid idea. As long as you were strong enough, joining a force and obtaining some benefits, what harm would there be? Naturally, there was no harm. Even if these people wanted you to do something you didn't want to do, you had enough strength to refuse. What else could they do to you? If you stayed in such a place, you would become a puppet of these people and lose your value from then on. If you are not willing to become a technique imparting elder, there is a position suitable for you. This is the honorary elder token of the Heavenly Pill Pavilion. Seeing this token is equivalent to seeing the pavilion master. The rights and benefits you enjoy are equivalent to that of a deputy pavilion master. However, to obtain this honorary elder token, there is still a small process. Su Hong said. Chapter 724. Honorary Elder of the Heavenly Pill Pavilion? The meaning of this honorary elder was quite sufficient. Taking it out represented the entire Heavenly Pill Pavilion. This kind of reputation was an extraordinary thing. Nangong Wuji and Hong Shisan's eyes were wide open. What kind of glory was this? What kind of authority was this? Just because Li Zongjiu was a young 6th grade alchemist, he could obtain such a noble status. Wasn't this a little too hasty? Hey, this token is the same as my grandfather's. Seeing the token in Su Hong's hand, Do Linger was surprised. Oh! Su Hong looked at Do Linger in surprise. Is it true, girl? Your grandfather is so awesome? Nangong Wuji said in surprise. Even in front of this little girl, His choice of words was rather vulgar, which showed his true nature. It's okay. Anyway, he has a lot of tokens, and likes to hang them on the wall, Dou Linger said. Su Hong looked at Dou Linger carefully. Throughout history, the Heavenly Pill Pavilion had issued no more than 5 honorary elder tokens. Until now, there were only 2 honorary elders that could be contacted. One of them was the alchemy master in the Imperial Palace, and the other was the mansion master of the Heavenly Star Medicine Manor. Su Hong didn't know where the remaining token owners were, and whether they were dead or not, because he didn't know much about it. Perhaps only the pavilion master of the Heavenly Pill Pavilion knew. What's the process? Li Zongjiu asked. Since there was such a good thing, he could enjoy so many benefits just by putting his name on it. For Li Zongjiu, of course, this was the best. He didn't have to waste too much time doing these things. In addition, the privileges he enjoyed were not small. It was exactly what Li Zongjiu wanted. You need to pay a certain amount of contribution, even if it's herbs, elixir recipes, and so on. I'll give this token to you first, Su Hong said straightforwardly. Anyway, this was before they came. It was also the deputy pavilion master himself who said that no matter the price, he had to make Li Zongjiu stay. Therefore, Su Hong was already prepared. This honorary elder position was not too excessive for Li Zongjiu. Based on his performance today, it was only natural for him to be given such a position. Who else in the Imperial City could have Li Zongjiu's strength and performance? Contribution? I haven't gotten any benefits yet, but you want to take something from me first. Li Zongjiu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. There was actually such a situation where he was at a disadvantage. It's just a formality. You should at least show some appreciation. Otherwise, I won't be able to report back. Su Hong also sighed. In fact, it could be said that it was dispensable. However, the rules were here, and Su Hong was a very law-abiding person. This matter would certainly not be easy to get away with. Do you still have the thing I gave you last time? Li Zongjiu asked Dou Linger, who was beside him. Whenever there was a fight, Dou Linger would be very excited. Now he actually asked her about it. What? What is it? Dou Linger was stunned. Then, she remembered the thing Li Zongjiu gave her before. Ah, you mean this? Dou Linger took out a primordial stone from her arms. What is this? Su Hong looked at the small primordial stone, and didn't know what was engraved in it. This thing is enough for you to report back, Li Zongjiu said lightly. Su Hong was also skeptical. What could be in this small primordial stone that was enough for him to report back? In fact, Su Hong meant that he could take out 5 or 6 grade 6 primordial stones to report back. However, he was given such a small primordial stone. He didn't know what was inside. When Su Hong took the primordial stone and used his mental strength to scan it, the shock on his face could no longer be hidden. Could this be? The expression on Su Hong's face was very interesting. In his life, this old face rarely showed such a high emotional fluctuation. What Li Zongjiu gave Su Hong was the second part of the universe 9 revolving needles. Until now, the second part of the universe 9 revolving needles had not been circulated. Some time ago, because of the universe 9 revolving needles, many people even died. Even Lu Wenshan, because of the universe 9 revolving needles, was imprisoned until now. Until now, no one from the Spirit Valley sect came to save him. Even now, Lu Wenshan was wondering whether the people from the Spirit Valley sect thought that he was dead, or that the Spirit Valley sect had perished. The Heaven and Earth 9 revolving needles was worth countless elixir recipes, countless spiritual grasses and spiritual medicines, and countless experts. Because of the appearance of this set of needles, it was very likely that the prestige of the Heavenly Elixir Pavilion would increase. Even more people would come to work for it because of its reputation. This was something that Su Hong had never expected. Li Zongjiu would actually hand over such an important item to him. This made Su Hong excited. I'll hand it over now. I'll hand it over now. There's no time to waste. Keep the token well, and come back to the Heavenly Pill Pavilion to make a note of it. Or I'll send you the document, and you can take a look at the rules and regulations. Su Hong said. Then, he ignored Li Zongjiu and the others behind him, and quickly ran away. With such a precious item in his hands, Su Hong even felt a little uneasy. Fortunately, Su Hong was an elder of the Heavenly Pill Pavilion. Otherwise, he wouldn't be safe even in the sacred Flame Royal City. The few of them were extremely shocked as they watched the anxious Su Hong rush out of the door. They even felt extremely puzzled. What exactly was that thing that actually caused Su Hong to be so flustered? Could it be some kind of treasure? What treasure did you give him? How could it frighten someone to this extent? A set of needles, Li Zongjie said. Needles? Nangong Wuji frowned. Universe 9 revolving needles? Brat, you're really willing to part with it. Nangong Wuji immediately came to his senses. Previously, he helped Li Zongjie send the array to the Blackwater Forest. Naturally, he knew about this item. However, he didn't expect that Li Zongjie would be so generous as to give this set of needles to the Heavenly Pill Pavilion. In that case, the Heavenly Pill Pavilion would be able to instantly expand their influence after obtaining this set of needles. It was all thanks to this set of Universe 9 revolving needles. What Universe 9 revolving needles? What's that? Hong Shisan was not a member of the alchemist community, nor was he a member of the alchemist community. He could not understand what the two of them were talking about. What kind of needle could actually be used to exchange for the token of the Heavenly Pill Pavilion's honorary elder? Wasn't it too profitable? Just thinking about it made him feel incredulous. However, the most important thing was that Li Zongjie didn't seem to care about it at all. By the way, someone came to look for you. Chapter 725. Who is it? Li Zongjie asked as he threw the identity token into the Southern Kingdom ring. The congratulatory gifts sent by those people were all stored in the Southern Kingdom ring. Given the storage space of the Southern Kingdom ring, this was not a problem. I don't know the identity of this person, but her strength is very terrifying. She said that she has come to find you and expressed her sincerity. Now you should go find her. Otherwise, she will come to you to settle accounts. Nangong Wuji imitated the tone of King of Fire as he spoke. Nangong Wuji didn't know that there was such a powerful expert in the city. This was a provocation to Nangong Wuji, and it might even be a sign of extreme danger. Either this expert came to the Holy Flame Royal City later on, or she had made a breakthrough in her cultivation realm and reached such a level in the past 10 years. Settle accounts with me? Haha, come on then. Li Zongjie said disdainfully. These days, he had so many enemies that he couldn't even count them. Who knew who was who? Li Zongjie didn't have the time to go to each and every one of them and ask them if they were looking for him. Oh, this girl is wearing red. Judging from her appearance, she is a femme fatale. Don't tell me you have a romantic debt outside, Nangong Wuji said. Nangong Wuji said. At the same time, he looked at Li Zongjie with a gaze that all men understood. If it were not for the fact that Nangong Wuji had helped him, Li Zongjie would have slapped him. What did you just say? She is wearing red? Li Zongjie had grasped the main point. The atmosphere of the scene suddenly became serious. Yes, she is as red as blood. Do you remember now? Is she crazy? Who would wear red clothes in broad daylight? She's simply retarded, Li Zongjie said directly. I'm going to cultivate in seclusion to refine the elixir. The matter of the Xianyuan sect is not over yet. You guys should be careful when you go out these 2 days. Also Hong Shisan, right? I'll leave the task of guarding the house to you. Remember, don't beg in front of my door and ruin my image. These words were also an acknowledgement and acceptance of Hong Shisan. In any case, he was a lackey of the primitive emperor. It wasn't a bad idea to take him in. At least, he wouldn't have to personally deal with some ordinary small fries. Don't worry. After witnessing Li Zongjie's strength and means, Hong Shisan had learned the rules. Nobody had the ability to kill primitive emperors at will. Li Zongjie had that ability. Following Li Zongjie and killing these bastards from Xianyuan sect was a worthwhile thing for Hong Shisan. And is your ability to build houses good or not? I haven't even seen a strand of your hair yet. Li Zongjie ridiculed Nangong Wuji before going into seclusion. Nangong Wuji was furious on the spot. This was a challenge to his professional ability. Wait for me. In 1 month, I guarantee that you'll live more comfortably than the one in the imperial city. Of course, the reason why Nangong Wuji worked so hard to complete this task was because Li Zongjiu indeed had the ability to refine pills that could help him recover his strength quickly. After all, he was close to becoming a grade 6 alchemist. Previously, when Nangong Wuji's cultivation was still at its peak, he had to behave himself in front of this level 6 alchemist and did not dare to act rashly. Such a person was a peerless expert who could command hundreds of people. Although the person standing in front of him was young, he had unlimited potential. He had to serve Li Zongjiu well. Whether or not he could achieve more in the future would depend on Li Zongjiu's level. Since there's nothing else, I'll continue to play. Dou Linger rode on the Howling Moon Wolf King and left White Deer Manor. Because Li Zongjiu's reputation was growing, no one dared to act rashly in front of anything under Li Zongjiu's name. In the stable, the tightly bound 9th Prince Xian Ming woke up from his coma. However, his vision was still blurry. Suddenly, he saw a black shadow approaching him quickly. Bang! With a muffled sound, the 9th Prince lost consciousness once again. Lu Wenshang could not help but weigh the stick in his hand. TSK, this feeling is really great. In the 7-star flame room, Xiao Zhao delivered Li Zongjiu's information to Song Jiyu. This included how Li Zongjiu had ostentatiously killed 2 Yuan emperors and 5 peak Yuan monarchs of the mystic Yuan sect. He had refined a level 6 alchemy pill and attracted a pill lightning. The 3 big herbalists had personally come to congratulate him. Finally, he had become an honorary elder of the Sky Elixir Pavilion. Each of these things was an incomparably glorious and miraculous thing. It was directly destined that the person's future achievements would be limitless. However, these 4 events had all happened to the same person, and they had all happened within the span of a single day. It was simply impossible for anyone to react. When Song Jiyu saw the information in her hands, she even suspected that the information was wrong. How could there be such a monstrous person? This person is really monstrous. Unparalleled. Song Jiyu's eyes were filled with shock. There was nothing else. Even with her mental fortitude, she was still immersed in shock for a full hour. Originally, Song Jiyu thought that having such achievements at her age was already enough to show disdain for the heroes. No elite could compare with Song Jiyu. Therefore, Song Jiyu's heart had always been incomparably arrogant. When she made the agreement with Li Zongjiu, it was also in the name of cooperation. Now Li Zongjiu had truly grown to the point where even the Song family could not contend with him. He could kill primitive emperor experts as he wished, and he had even killed 2 of them. It was true that the Song family had primitive emperor experts, but there was only one of them. It was not even enough for Li Zongjiu to kill. Now in White Deer Manor alone, there were 2 great primitive emperors overseeing it. One of them was the infamous Nangong Wuji in the city. When Nangong Wuji had dominated the sacred Flame Royal City, Song Jiyu was just a child. Now, she had become Li Zongjiu's subordinate in a flash. The Qi family. When the major families knew about Li Zongjiu's situation, their reactions were naturally different. Some families had bad relations with Li Zongjiu, while some families had some dealings with Li Zongjiu. However, for the Qi family, it was naturally a great thing. When Qi Yanran heard the news, she immediately went to Qi Shaohan to verify it. Although Li Zongjiu was a person in the alchemy circle, after all, he had contact with them before. When they learned that Li Zongjiu had broken through to the 6th grade alchemist realm, the elders below were simply going crazy. Is that true? Our Qi family has helped Li Zongjiu twice. It should be enough for Li Zongjiu to refine an elixir for us. That's right. Without our Qi family's help, how could Li Zongjiu have broken through to the 6th grade alchemist realm? It must be the supreme grade primordial stone fragment that we gave him last time that allowed him to break through. Within the Qi family, several elders immediately slammed the table and stood up. One after another, they began to make guesses. At the same time, they began to think about what they should ask Li Zongjiu to do, and what kind of medicinal pill he should refine for them. The few of you are really shameless. Last time when we gave out the primordial stone fragment, the 3 of you opposed it the most. Immediately, some elders began to quarrel with each other. Old 9, don't slander us. I am just stating facts. Don't fan the flames here. How am I fanning the flames? Don't tell me that the more than 20 people sitting here are all fanning the flames and adding oil to the fire? Qi Xiaohan calmly looked at the group of people below who were quarreling and did not care. It was very normal for there to be conservatives and radicals. There were conflicts within the family, so there was competition. Only with competition could there be progress. However, regarding Li Zongjiu's breakthrough, it was still a big matter to deal with. A 6th-grade alchemist, and even now, an honorary elder of the Heavenly Pill Pavilion. A casual sentence from him was enough to raise the Qi family to the sky. Yinran, go back and prepare some things. You can send them to Li Zongjiu as a congratulatory gift. Send a congratulatory gift. Why do I have to go? Qi Yinran seemed to have realized something in this matter and immediately blushed. Chapter 726. White Deer Manor. Li Zongjiu was in the training room. He did not immediately refine the 10,000 yuan longevity elixir. Instead, he summoned his blood soul hell. In front of the power of the flying sword, it was directly minced into pieces. The power of hell that he had painstakingly refined was crushed just like that. He should have caught that kid and given him a good beating. Directly smashing his body into smithereens was letting him off too lightly. Although it's broken, the power is still there. I just need to refine it again. Li Zongjiu opened his hand and saw a cluster of pitch-black energy mixed with blood-red energy. It had formed a small black ball. This was the result of the concentrated hellish energy. It was just that the power could not be condensed and used. Let's put it aside for now. Although the blood soul hell was useful, it was still risky when facing some experts. That damned flying sword was actually so powerful. If it wasn't for the blood soul hell blocking it, then Li Zongjiu would have been seriously injured by that sword. I want to know the origin of that old man hiding in the Shura cauldron. With Li Zongjiu's experience in his previous life, he could roughly guess the old man's origin. But all of this still needed to be confirmed. The reason why Li Zongjiu wanted to break through to the absolute saint realm was not only because of the instinctive pursuit of power, but also because he wanted to see the world outside the Shenggu continent. Not many people would believe him if he said it out loud. Just the scope of the 13 states of the Xingyan dynasty was enough to cover the heavens and the earth. The vastness of the mountains and rivers was so vast that even an origin emperor expert would have to spend more than 10 years to traverse it. Even some dangerous places would not be easily approached, because it was very normal for such a place to want to devour your life. Li Zongjiu immediately sank into his spiritual world. Under the power of the desolate heaven essence, the mysterious old man's last breath was taken away. When one's cultivation reached such a level, there was no distinction between good and evil. In order to survive, the old man would definitely devour Li Zongjiu one day. The reason why the old man was able to reveal his true form this time was probably due to the effect of the pill. That was why he appeared directly. It was also an instinctive reaction, and Li Zongjiu happened to catch it. With this, he directly crippled the latter. The old man's power suddenly appeared in Li Zongjiu's spiritual world. It had only been a short period of time, but the power that had been shattered began to condense on its own. It would not be long before the power condensed again. The mysterious old man would definitely be reborn from this power. He's really capable. If this power was allowed to spread freely, wouldn't he be able to maintain an immortal body? Ordinary people might not be able to understand, but Li Zongjiu could understand the mystery behind it. Li Zongjiu had seen such a method before. That was the power of the Phoenix clan. The so-called Nirvana rebirth was not a fiction. Those fellows had been able to revive for generations in a strange way. It was indeed a rather strange existence. However, that was the power of the Phoenix clan. How could it be possible for a human to do it? It's a pity that you met me. If it were anyone else, you might still have a chance to revive. Li Zongjiu could not give the old man a chance to revive. Immediately, obsidian fire appeared in his palm. With the appearance of the terrifying obsidian fire, the drifting power began to frantically escape. However, where could they escape to in Li Zongjiu's spiritual world? A domineering power instantly swept out. Boom! The power of obsidian fire spread out. It directly refined the black soul power one by one. It's really difficult. Li Zhongjiu looked at the appearance of these things in surprise. It was actually difficult to refine these soul fragments. Immediately, Li Zhongjiu continued to increase the power of refining. As Li Zhongjiu's power increased, the soul fragments finally began to be refined gradually. At the same time, a memory, like an energy flow of information, flowed into Li Zhongjiu's mind. These were all the old man's memories. Li Zhongjiu digested these memories one by one. However, these memory fragments were rather trivial, and there was not much information that could be obtained. However, every piece of information was very important to Li Zhongjiu. It took him half a day to refine. At the same time, he also spent half a day to sort out the information. Finally, Li Zhongjiu sorted out the information, as if he was peeling silk from a cocoon. Prehistoric realm, sacred martial realm. This person is actually a saint realm expert. Li Zhongjiu opened his eyes. When he read this information, his heart could not calm down for a long time. This expert whose soul had been shattered, and whose origin was unknown, turned out to be a genuine saint realm expert. However, this guy seemed to be on the run, so he was beaten to such a state. In the end, he hid in the Azura cauldron and remained silent until now. As for the old man's past, Li Zhongjiu naturally did not care. If he had not been hunted down in these years, he would be embarrassed to say that he had wandered the underworld. Therefore, it was an extremely normal thing. However, what was interesting was that this old man opened the door to a new world for Li Zhongjiu. First of all, saint realm experts really existed. The prehistoric realm that Li Zhongjiu had visited before. However, this prehistoric realm was the prehistoric realm in the old man's memory. The eldritch territory was filled with ferocious beasts, which were quite terrifying. Those ferocious eldritch beasts were extremely dangerous for supremes like them. Therefore, it was impossible for them to pass through the eldritch territory. After passing through the prehistoric realm, it was a whole new world. This continent was called the Sacred Martial Realm. The Sacred Martial Realm was thousands of times bigger than the Holy Martial Continent. This showed how terrifying the Sacred Martial Realm was. No wonder the old man said that the Holy Martial Continent was just a small place. Compared to the Sacred Martial Realm, the Holy Martial Continent was just a small place. There really are Saint Realm experts, and I even accidentally killed one. This was something that even Li Zhongjiu did not expect. However, this guy could be considered very powerful to be able to pass through the prehistoric realm and escape here. Even Li Zhongjiu did not manage to do this. This further solidified Li Zhongjiu's pursuit of the Saint Realm. The Supreme Being Realm was not the peak. There were stronger experts in the world. In this way, there would be an even greater challenge. Mountain-toppling golden seal. Li Zhongjiu found a primordial skill in the old man's memory. This mountain-toppling golden seal was the move that the old man used to slap the blood dragon's soul to the ground. The move of a Saint Realm expert must be extraordinary. Although Li Zhongjiu had dabbled in many martial arts, this was the first time he had seen such a powerful move. If the old man had used it in his peak state, how terrifying would it have been? It was unimaginable. Fortunately, Li Zhongjiu did not waste any time and killed the old man directly. Otherwise, he might have been stabbed in the back. Fortunately, he decisively crippled this guy. Let's learn it first. In order to prevent these memories from degenerating, Li Zhongjiu took out a primordial stone and engraved these memories into it. Mountain-toppling golden seal, Saint Realm primordial skill. Chapter 727. Most of the memories were in an extremely chaotic state. If Li Zhongjiu wanted to sort through them with his current mind power, it would be very painful. Not only would it take a lot of time, but it might also be dangerous. There were too many mysteries of the Sage Realm powerhouse. Li Zhongjiu would not be able to comprehend them all in a short time. Even in Li Zhongjiu's mind, there were still some remnants of the Sage Realm powerhouse's energy. Only when he became stronger would he be able to refine them one by one. This longevity 10,000 yuan elixir should be able to help me reach the level of a 5th grade yuan monarch. Li Zhongjiu had already reached the level of a 1st grade yuan monarch a few months ago. If he wanted to make a breakthrough in his cultivation base, it would be extremely slow. No matter where he cultivated, it would be extremely slow. It would be a lie to say that he could cultivate steadily and surely, as he did not have enough elixir pills to sustain the process of cultivation. When I have time, I should go back and take a look. I wonder how the situation at home is like. Unknowingly, he had been away for almost a year. After leaving home in the summer, it was already spring. A year's time was very short for people with high cultivation bases. If Li Zongjie wanted to, a few years would pass in the blink of an eye. Those who did not know would think that Li Zongjie had already died in there. He opened his mouth and swallowed the 10,000 yuan elixir. The Shengyan dynasty had never been peaceful. Every once in a while, there would be some trouble and some troublemakers. Now in the south of Dingquan province, an extremely terrifying and sinister gang had appeared. When these people attacked, they basically left no survivors. Once they were caught, they would use some extremely cruel means to use these people as food for the insects they raised. This gang was called the Southern Region Poison Sect. The appearance of the poison sect in the southern region was like a swarm of locusts passing through. It rapidly caused great destruction in several places. It also caused a huge uproar in the territory of the Saint Flame Empire. This was a provocation to the peace of the Saint Flame Empire. However, the armies of the nearby cities were simply unable to pose a threat to the Southern Region Poison Sect. Although they were slightly on guard now, the intentions of these people were very obvious. The provincial government of Dingquan province had already sent people to investigate this matter, but these people often never returned. Within the borders of Dingquan province, it formed a large-scale panic. At this moment of crisis, a group of righteous people had suddenly emerged from Qingyuan Manor, which belonged to King Qingyuan. Wherever they passed, they immediately led the local people and formed a huge team to exterminate the poison sect in the southern region. The process was incomparably exciting. Currently, the Qingyuan Villa and the southern border poison sect seem to have formed a confrontation within the Dingquan province. However, the Dingquan province's prefecture master found a trace of abnormality in this. This was because the Qingyuan Manor and the southern region poison sect seemed to have formed a method of cooperation. Under such circumstances, they had actually gradually visited all the major cities in Dingquan province. Now, half of the cities had the Qingyuan Manor's flag. The slogan of these people was to exterminate the southern region poison sect, which was a pest gang. If anyone dared to question and refused to join, they would be regarded as an accomplice of the southern region poison sect. At this point, the Dingquan province's prefecture master was unable to distinguish between them. What exactly was the situation? After sensing that something was wrong, the Dingquan province's prefecture master hurriedly spurred his horse and prepared to personally report this matter to the dynasty. After all, it was related to the Qingyuan Manor. Naturally, ordinary people did not dare to make a fuss. Even if he was the Dingquan province's prefecture master, he did not dare to meddle in this matter. However, if he did not do anything, then who knew what kind of situation would develop next? However, if the prefecture master wanted to leave, it would not be a simple matter. It had just rained and the road was somewhat muddy. The wheels of the carriage ran over the puddles and immediately splashed up mud. Only the Dingquan province's prefecture master knew. For this trip, he only brought a few of his most loyal guards with him. Even at the fastest speed, it would take close to 2 days to reach the Sacred Flame Royal City. On the way, they would pass by several dangerous places. However, no one dared to kill the prefecture master halfway. If that happened, the Shengyan dynasty would definitely not let them off. Given the Saint Flame Empire's means, it was easy for them to bring out such a deterrent force. My lord, the one who appealed this time is King Qingyuan. Have you thought about this matter clearly? Fang Youji sat in the carriage with the housekeeper Su Fu beside him. This old housekeeper had followed him for more than 20 years, so Fang Youji trusted Su Fu very much. King Qingyuan's status is honorable, but this disaster is not something we can stop. We have to report it to the imperial court. Moreover, the imperial court will only know the seriousness of this matter if I go there personally. Fang Yoji said in a deep voice. Dingquan province was one of the 13 provinces. Although the terrain was vast, it was not very rich in resources, and did not give birth to many experts. Relatively speaking, it was easier to control. Therefore, regardless of whether it was the poison sect of the southern region or the Qingyuan manor, they all chose Dingquan province as the starting point to carry out such wanton plundering. My lord, you have to think twice. We are out of Dingquan province in front. Su Fu opened the window and took a look. If they went there, they would have to take a boat. Once they got on the boat, they would leave the boundary of Dingquan province. However, this was when they really stepped on the road of appeal. Su Fu, you have followed me for more than 20 years. How can I watch these people fight for power and affect the people of Dingquan province? No matter what, I can't drag the common people into this. Over the past few days, the number of civilian casualties in Dingquan province had already exceeded several tens of thousands. My lord, I naturally understand your intentions. However, I am sorry this time. I can't let you cross the river. Su Fu suddenly said. Fang Yoji was also taken aback. What kind of nonsense was Su Fu spouting? Just as Fang Yoji was shocked, the sound of a horse reining in came from the front. In the end, it was the sound of weapons clashing. Clang, clang, clang. My lord, let's go. A blood-curdling scream came from outside the carriage, but soon after, the sound of a blade falling could be heard. Chapter 728. Fang Yoji was in the carriage. At this moment, he had already realized what had happened. Unfortunately, Fang Yoji himself was not good at fighting. When he saw Su Fu, he clenched his fists. His eyes were filled with grief and indignation. Su Fu, I've treated you well. Fang Yoji roared with all his might. For many years, he had always believed in Su Fu's sincerity. But who would have thought that at this most critical moment, the first person to stand out and betray him would actually be Su Fu? Magistrate, if you had listened to my advice and not appealed, things wouldn't have turned out this way. I've done my best. Su Fu said in a low voice. Then Su Fu lifted the curtains of the carriage and said, Please, my lord. Fang Yoji knew that he would not be able to escape death. He did not expect that even the government of Dingquan province had been infiltrated by these people. If he still could not see through these people's intentions, then Fang Yoji would be too stupid. However, when he thought about how his family might be implicated, Fang Yoji's heart was filled with hatred. If he had known this would happen, he would have helped his family settle down. However, he expected that these people wouldn't dare to go too far. If the family of a province of the Shengyan dynasty were killed, the imperial court would definitely send people to investigate. If these people wanted to achieve something, they wouldn't have gone so far. When Fang Yoji walked out, he saw the 3 corpses on the ground. Even among the 6 guards, 3 of them had betrayed him. The 3 of them put away their blood-stained sabers. In the face of absolute benefits, even people who lived with each other day and night could point their weapons at each other. If they didn't make a move, the other party would be the first to strike. The most important thing was to strike first and gain the upper hand. What do you want now? You betrayed the imperial court. You won't have a good ending. Even in the face of death, Fang Yoji proudly puffed out his chest, unafraid of death. Don't worry, my lord. After today, you will still be our lord. Su Fu said with a smile. At this moment, several figures appeared in the surrounding dense forest. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. A dozen blood-robed guards landed on the ground and surrounded the people in front of them. That sharp murderous intent was incomparably clear. When this power appeared, Fang Yoji felt his scalp go numb, as if the other party's knife was constantly scraping his scalp. Hiss! Magistrate Fang, long time no see. A rough voice came from the dense forest. Black Tiger Banner's banner commander, Zhao Hanjiang. Fang Yoji recognized the person in front of him, the Black Tiger Banner's banner chief. Now Qingyuan Villa had sent countless experts. Moreover, the countless experts weren't disorderly and disorderly. Instead, they were divided into 8 banners. Under each flag, there was a banner master who led them. At the very beginning, the Black Tiger Banner's banner master Zhao Hanjiang had already come to look for Fang Youji. He actually wanted to borrow Fang Youji's military authority. Naturally, he was dismissed by Fang Youji. Currently, the manpower of the 8 Great Banners was gradually expanding within Dingquan province. At that moment, they wanted to cleanse the 8 banners of their crimes. Once they were cleansed and turned into a regular army, the deterrence they would form would be even more terrifying. As long as Magistrate Fang is willing, we will send you back to your residence today and pretend that nothing happened today. What do you think? Zhao Hanjiang said in a low voice. He looked at Fang Youji in front of him. Although there would be a lot of trouble if they killed the magistrate of a province, they had already cleaned up Dingquan province. All they needed to do was put in a little more effort. If Fang Youji was willing to cooperate, things would be even simpler and more convenient. There's no need to say anything more. You people and the masters behind you will not have a good ending. Fang Youji said indifferently. A real man was born as a man. There were some things he could do, but there were also some things he absolutely couldn't do. Fang Youji was still very clear on this point. Even if he had to die, he had to preserve his reputation. You really like being an honest and upright official. Zhao Hanjiang couldn't help but say. He looked at Fang Youji in front of him and waved his hand helplessly. The surrounding blood-robed guards also drew their swords and walked over to Fang Youji. Kill him! One of the blood-robed guards suddenly sped up and rushed in front of Fang Youji. He brandished the blood-rimmed blade in his hand. However, the light from the blade didn't seem to pierce Fang Youji's neck. Instead, it split his own neck in half. Whoosh! The blood-robed guard's head immediately fell to the ground. What? When Zhao Hanjiang saw this scene, he was shocked. Such a strange scene had to be caused by an expert in the dark. Boom! Someone seemed to be flying over from a great distance. Boom! A figure landed on the ground. It was a handsome young man with a hint of arrogance in his eyes. He held the sword in his hand as he turned around to look at Fang Youji and the blood-robed guards around him. You must be from Qingyuan Manor. Tianfei straightened his body as he looked at the person in front of him. Who are you? Has Qingyuan Manor offended you in any way? When Zhao Hanjiang saw the person who had come, he realized that he didn't recognize Tianfei. However, Tianfei shook his head and didn't say anything. Whoosh! Tianfei unsheathed the sword in his hand. Everyone felt a sharp aura sweep past their necks. The moment this aura appeared, they all felt a sharp aura sweep past their necks. The blood-robed guards instinctively wanted to fight to the death with Tianfei. However, they immediately realized that they couldn't move at all. Their heads had been neatly cut off. It was an extremely shocking sight. Pillars of blood spurted out from the necks of the blood-robed guards around them. They all flew up into the sky. Damn it! When Zhao Hanjiang saw this, he immediately realized that the person who had come was very strong. He wasn't someone he could withstand. He immediately flew back. If he escaped into the dense forest, he might have a chance. Su Fu and the 3 guards also quickly flew in all directions. They hadn't expected Fang Youji to have invited such a powerful expert. Fang Youji was also very shocked. He didn't understand who this young man who had suddenly appeared before him was. 1 sword becomes 3 qi. Tianfei used a yuan skill, and the sword in his hand suddenly split into 5 swords. With a whoosh, the swords chased after the 5 people who had fled. Bang! 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 The 5 people who had fled were immediately pierced by the swords. Their bodies fell straight to the ground. Zhao Hanjiang was still lying on the ground, but he wasn't completely dead. He wanted to crawl forward, but he saw the young man squat in front of him and look at him coldly. Then, the young man took Zhao Hanjiang's storage ring. Don't worry. Your whole family will be here to accompany you. Li Zongjie said indifferently. Zhao Hanjiang's eyes widened when he heard this. This young man wanted him to die with everlasting regret. Young master. Tianfei greeted Li Zongjie, who had just walked out of the dense forest. Fang Youji, on the other hand, was somewhat unable to react. This young man who had suddenly appeared in front of him had actually killed all these people so easily. This was something that he absolutely did not dare to believe. That was the Black Tiger Banner Chief, one of the 8 banners of Qingyuan Villa. You, who are you? Fang Youji asked. You must be the magistrate of Dingquan province. You're a man. Get on the carriage. Li Zongjio waved his hand and asked Feng Youji to get on the carriage. Feng Youji didn't understand the situation, but these people didn't seem to be in the same group as those people. Get on the carriage, Tianfei said. Then he sat on the coachman's seat. His self-awareness was quite high. What Feng Youji wanted most now was to go back and settle down his family. At the same time, he needed to find out the identity of these people in front of him. Go! Tianfei drove the carriage back the way they came. Chapter 729. You're Li Zongjio. When Feng Youji heard Li Zongjio's name, he immediately exclaimed. Obviously, Li Zongjio's reputation was very resounding. Even the dignified Kuan state capital knew of Li Zongjio's name. My name is already so resounding now. Li Zongjio was slightly surprised. It's not easy for such a young and promising person to appear in Dingquan province. Of course we have to take good care of him. After you graduate from Heavenly Star Medicine Manor, you can consider working in my province. It can be considered as giving back to your hometown. Feng Youji quickly said. He wanted to establish a good relationship with Li Zongjio first. There were many talents in Dingquan province. However, there were very few people who were as famous as Li Zongjio. This was because the things that Li Zongjio did in Royal City had already caused many reputable forces to send people to his residence to retrieve the files. I can consider it. Li Zongjio nodded and said. But it doesn't seem like you have the final say now. Li Zongjio looked at Feng Youji and said. After refining the longevity myriad yuan elixir, Li Zongjio prepared to go home. Firstly, Li Zongjio was now an honorary elder of the Heavenly Pill Pavilion. Even if the Heavenly Pill Pavilion could deal with the Xianyuan sect, it would only be within the boundaries of Sacred Flame Royal City. If the people from the Xianyuan sect were to launch a sneak attack on Wuxia City, it would be very risky. That in itself was extremely risky. If they were to come, Wuxia City would definitely not be able to stop them with its current strength. Therefore, Li Zongjio prepared to return to Wuxia City to see the situation first. Who knew that so many things would happen in Dingquan province? In the direction of the ferry, Li Zongjio met with these people from Qingyuan Villa face to face, and then killed them all without leaving a single armor behind. Therefore, even if Feng Youji boarded the ship, he would be killed by these people when he got off the ship. In order to deal with Feng Youji, Qingyuan Manor had made a very thorough deployment. Since there were people that Qingyuan Manor wanted to get rid of, Li Zongjio naturally had to rescue them. Along the way, Feng Youji recounted everything that had happened in Dingquan province. After Li Zongjio learned about it, he nodded. You are indeed a little arrogant. However, since I've encountered this matter, there's no need for you to appeal. Where are the 8 banner masters? Take me there directly. Said. Li Zongjio said, just now, you've killed a Black Tiger banner master. As for the remaining 7 banner masters, they should be in the Middle Reaches Mountains recently, because the people from the Southern Borders Poison Sect have appeared in the Middle Reaches Mountains recently. They seem to be preparing to wipe out the Southern Borders Poison Sect in the Middle Reaches Mountains recently. Therefore, they are wantonly plundering the military power and replacing it with someone else. Since they dared to touch Feng Youji's head, it meant that most of the people below were just mere figureheads. In fact, most of the people who appeared below had already been replaced. They were so resourceful that they wanted to cover the sky with one hand. This kind of strength really surprised Feng Youji. Then let's go to the middle mountain area. Tianfei, head southeast. Yes, young master. He brought Tianfei with him on this trip. Nangong Wuji wanted to design a house and build a mansion. Heng Shisan's duty was to guard the house. Yinghu wanted to watch Lu Wenshan and supervise him to refine elixirs. Dou Ling was free. She was immersed in gambling almost every day. As an elder of the Heavenly Star Medicine Mansion, Nangong Wuji actually went to the casino to gamble like Dou Ling when he was free. They were simply a pair of weirdos. Fortunately, the skills of these 2 people were worse than the other. Although they liked to gamble, they never won more than a few times. Naturally, Taifai came to report this. He really admired these people. They didn't cultivate all day long, and only knew how to do these things. Therefore, He only asked Tianfei to serve him on this trip. Tianfei naturally felt very honored. To be able to follow the young master was something he couldn't wish for more. Unlike Gong Changhe, Tianfei felt that Li Zongjie was truly capable. Therefore, he also felt admiration and respect from the bottom of his heart. Moreover, Li Zongjie's style of killing people he didn't like was really enviable. It was really carefree. We're going to the Middle Mountain area now. Aren't we going to prepare? Fang Youji was obviously a little surprised. Just the three of them were going to kill their way there. Fang Youji was just an ordinary person. Although he was physically strong, when it came to fighting, he probably couldn't even defeat an ordinary farmer. He was a civil official who followed the civil service. What could he do if he went there? At this moment, the Middle Mountain area could be said to be the gathering force of the Qing Yuan Manor and the poison sect of the southern region. If they rashly rushed there, it was an action of courting death. What's there to prepare? If we hurry, we can still go back and have dinner. Li Zongjie looked at the sky. Immediately, the carriage sped along the road. It rushed madly. The Middle Mountain area was about 300 miles away from the Dingquan province city. The enemies had already gathered in such a place. Only then did he decide to make a trip to the Sacred Flame Imperial City. Even if he went there, by the time he returned, the situation would have already changed. At this moment, the Middle Mountain area. The reason why it was called the Middle Mountain area, it was because there was a long river that ran through the Dingquan province. It was called the Qianding River, and the middle reaches of the river were located here. That was why it was called the Middle Mountain area. The Eight Banners army had already surrounded the Middle Mountain area. Currently, most of the third-grade and second-grade cities in the Dingquan province were deterred by the Eight Banners army's power. The closest city to the Middle Mountain area was the giant Jadewave city. It was a second-grade city. When the Eight Banners army locked onto the Middle Mountain area, they felt like an army pressing down on the border. They wanted to take down the giant Jadewave city first. They seemed to want to use the name of upholding justice to force the giant Jadewave city to let them pass. However, the giant Jadewave city was one of the giants among the second-grade cities. Its strength was even close to that of a first-grade city. Naturally, it wouldn't compromise so easily. How could it not see the wild ambition of these people? The one who controlled the giant Jadewave city now was the Zheng family. Currently, the Zheng family and the city governor's mansion of the giant Jadewave city were working together to resist the Eight Banners army. In fact, the giant Jadewave city was also under great pressure. In the city governor's mansion of the giant Jadewave city, there were a total of 5 great clans in the city. 3 of them were led by the Zheng clan and followed their leader blindly. Even the city governor had to carefully consider the Zheng family's opinion. The head of the Zheng family, Zheng Yonghui, the city governor of the giant Jadewave city, Pang Shan. In addition, the clan leaders of the other 4 great clans were gathered here. They were discussing the matter of the Eight Banners army, which was constantly pressuring them from outside the city. Currently, the voices in the city are extremely loud. The banner commander of the White Tiger banner of the Eight Banners army has given us a deadline. We have 2 days to open the city gate to welcome them and provide them with sufficient supplies. Otherwise, we will be regarded as the accomplices of the poison sect in the southern region. Pang Shan said, "This kind of situation should not have happened at all. Are these people crazy?" Zheng Yonghui clapped his hands. Everyone was shocked. This is a blatant seizure of power. Zheng Yonghui's eyes were like a pair of angry lions. The other great clans didn't dare to look Zheng Yonghui in the eyes. They immediately understood the difference between Zheng Yonghui and the other great clans. The Zheng family had worked hard for many generations for the sake of the giant Jadewave city. It could be said that without the Zheng family, the giant Jadewave city wouldn't exist today. The reason why Pang Shan was able to sit on the city governor's seat was because of the Zheng family's support. Otherwise, there would have been more chaos. If we allow these bandits to enter the city, the stability of our city will be destroyed. The giant Jadewave city will change hands and become a puppet of the Qing Yuan villa. Although some people could see this point clearly, they had no other choice. The bandits were coming with great momentum. In addition, The threat of the poison sect in the southern region did exist. The bandits used this as an excuse to wipe out more than half of the cities in Dingquan province. Obviously, there was a huge conspiracy behind this. Chapter 730. Under such a huge premeditated scheme, there was also absolute strength behind it, which was why it could reach such a level. Don't you think that the poison sect of the southern region and the Qingyuan villa are putting on an act? Zheng Yonghui said. Everyone was startled when they heard Zheng Yonghui's words. The poison sect of the southern region was vicious and merciless. Their actions were terrifying. They did not leave any leeway. Wherever they went, they would start an earth-shattering massacre. They would massacre the entire village and town. They did not treat people as human lives at all. That was why the Eight Banners army was able to rise so quickly. Moreover, some of the people who have been persecuted by the poison sect of the southern region rose up one after another. Since the imperial court did not do anything, they would do it themselves. Therefore, they joined the Eight Banners army. This allowed the Eight Banners army to grow rapidly. Ever since the Eight Banners army was established, the poison sect of the southern region had been forced to retreat repeatedly. Although they had killed many remnants along the way, the main force of the poison sect of the southern region was not injured at all. The poison sect of the southern region had been fleeing for their lives. In addition, the Eight Banners army had been chasing after them. They did not kill many of them. Instead, they recruited them along the way, causing the Eight Banners army to grow even stronger. If one were to observe carefully, one would discover that these people were putting on an act. Otherwise, how could there be such a coincidence? Now that they had fled to the Middle Mountain, they had nowhere else to run. They were trapped on the Middle Mountain. If they wanted to leave, they would have to swim over the Qianding River. Even a large-scale head-on conflict had never occurred. Even if it was an act, it was done very carelessly. Usually, everyone was blinded by the crisis in front of them. Now that they were talking about this, they were even more shocked. It seemed that there was indeed such a thing going on. This was too much of a coincidence. This was a battle of life and death. Even if the Eight Banners army could not kill the poison sect of the southern region, the poison sect of the southern region should have turned around and defeated the Eight Banners army. If that is the case, isn't our Jadewave giant city in imminent danger? Some of the family heads finally regained their senses. His words instantly caused a wave of panic. Even Pang Shan looked at Zheng Yonghui with a look of pleading for help. Why are you panicking? Zheng Yonghui let out a low growl, then looked around with his sharp eyes. As long as we defend the city, how can these idle fish and scattered soldiers break into our Emerald Wave colossal city? My Zheng family's 20 Qilin battleships have been prepared. Let's fight at any time. Zheng Yonghui said. Qilin battleship. The Zheng family was a master shipbuilder. The technology itself was very advanced, and it also made a great contribution to the military industry of the Xingyan dynasty. Military and transportation. The appearance of the sky-shaking ship was also a technology that made people gasp in amazement. As for the Qilin warship, it was a warship with extremely powerful firepower. Once it was activated, it could even resist an army of 1,000,000. Even if it's the Qingyuan manner, he can forget about controlling my Jadewave giant city. So what if he's King Qingyuan? If he attacks the city, it's tantamount to rebellion. What was there to fear from a rebel king? As long as we stay united internally, Cerulean Wave Giant City will be indestructible. Zheng Yonghui said. At the same time, his gaze swept across the surrounding people. His words were very obvious. If someone wanted to be a traitor, it would be destroying the stability and prosperity of Cerulean Wave Giant City, making an enemy of the Zheng family. Their fates wouldn't be any better. Many people also swallowed their saliva. At this moment, it was impossible to get off the tiger. They could only unite with the Zheng family. Only in this way could they have a chance to survive. But now, they could only pray in their hearts. They prayed that these people would not attack the city at this time. It would be best if these people did not have the guts to attack the city. Otherwise, their end would be very unpredictable. Go back and prepare well. A war is inevitable. How can we live under someone else's rule? Zheng Yonghui waved his hand, indicating that the meeting was adjourned, leaving the city lord and Zheng Yonghui alone in the room. After everyone left, Pang Shan looked at Zheng Yonghui with an inquiring gaze. Are there really 20 Qilin battleships? Pang Jun's eyes flashed with excitement. If there were really 20 Qilin battleships, it would not be a problem to deal with the 8 Banners army. One Qilin battleship was enough to resist 100,000 soldiers. However, Pang Jun saw that Zheng Yonghui's expression was extremely gloomy. There are only 2 Qilin battleships that can be used at the moment. If there are 20 Qilin battleships, we don't have enough energy. We don't have enough primordial stones in reserve. Zheng Yonghui said. Normally, even if they were in a state of war, one Qilin battleship was enough to deter the enemy. However, if they wanted to use 20 Qilin battleships at the same time, even if they had enough energy, they did not have enough pilots to operate them. Such a powerful Qilin battleship naturally needed the most trusted person to operate it. Otherwise, if the cannons of the Qilin battleship were slightly turned to fire at their own people during a war, they would end up in a miserable state. Therefore, the pilots of the Qilin battleships were of the utmost importance. Seeing this, Pang Shan's expression changed. There are only 2 Qilin battleships. Pang Shan's face was instantly filled with nervousness. As a result, the situation was much worse than expected. Even if there are only 2 Qilin battleships, these people won't dare to act rashly. I've sent a message to my family in Royal City and reported the situation here to the Imperial Court. Zheng Yonghui said. For such a matter, it was naturally necessary to have a backup plan. Otherwise, they would die sooner or later if they waited here for their deaths. The 8 Banners army has more than 500,000 soldiers and countless experts. Most of them are angry people who are not to be trifled with. Moreover, the people from the poison sect from southern border are secretly causing trouble, Pang Shan said. I know that the people from the poison sect from southern border have already infiltrated the city. If I'm not mistaken, the people from the Yang clan are already planning to betray us. The Yang clan was the only clan that did not follow the Zheng clan's lead. The Yang clan was also very powerful and was on par with the Zheng clan in terms of strength. Since they were both big clans, there was no need for them to bow and bend their knees to the Zheng clan. Therefore, the Yang clan was also planning to betray the Zheng clan. The 20 Qilin battleships were purposely mentioned to the Yang clan to deter them. Otherwise, the Yang clan would really think that they could go against the Zheng clan. What? Pang Shan was also extremely shocked. He did not expect the poison sect from southern border to act so quickly. At the same time, he was also puzzled. Since Zheng Yonghui already knew about it, why didn't he directly eliminate the people from the Yang clan? Instead, why did he keep them alive until now? Wasn't that like raising a tiger that would invite calamity? However, this matter was not so simple. If he took action now, he would directly destroy the aquamarine wave giant city. It was naturally a military taboo to have internal and external troubles. City Lord, it's not good. The 8 Banners army has gathered outside the city gate and is requesting to enter the city. Pang Shan's subordinate came to report. When they heard the news, both of them were obviously surprised. How could these people act so quickly? Damn it, prepare for battle. Zheng Yonghui slapped his palm. Since these bastards were serious, he did not want to waste time talking nonsense with them. So what if he had to fight a bloody battle? Chapter 731. Outside the giant cerulean wave city, 6 of the 8 banner soldiers had arrived. The colors of the 8 banner soldiers were 4 black and 4 white. For different totems, and the black and white flags fluttered in the sky. The 6 banner masters were standing side by side on their horses. They looked at the giant cerulean wave city in front of them. They had not encountered any resistance along the way. If they could take down the giant cerulean wave city, they were confident that they could expand their sphere of influence to the entire Dingquan province. Currently, most of the second-grade cities had become the puppets of the 8 banner soldiers. Behind them was a vast and mighty army. Although they were not uniform in terms of attire, their core strength was gathered together. They used their hatred for the poison sect of the southern border to control these people. The banner master of the White Tiger banner raised his head and looked at the giant cerulean wave city. Brothers, those poison sect of the southern border, are hiding in the giant cerulean wave city. Now the giant cerulean wave city won't let us in. Tell me, what should we do? Kill! 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 Shouts and roars shook the sky behind them. Surging killing intent rushed toward the giant cerulean wave city. When Zheng Yonghui saw this scene, his expression immediately became serious. Damn it! These people have no intention of negotiating. Zheng Yonghui slapped his thigh. He immediately came to his senses. Previously, he thought that these people would have some misgivings. However, after thinking carefully, if these people were really in cahoots with the poison sect of the southern border, then there was no need to worry. They would charge into the city wall without any misgivings. They would kill them all, then let the poison sect of the southern border destroy the scene, and make it look like they were the ones who did it. Why did Zheng Yonghui only think of such a simple logic now? There were at least 400,000 to 500,000 people in the city. There were only 80,000 soldiers stationed in the city. With such a huge difference, it would not be easy to deal with these people. They could be wiped out at any time. This was because the poison sect of the southern border was still causing trouble in the city, coordinating from the inside and the outside. It was simply a seamless cooperation. Prepare for battle. Just as Zheng Yonghui gave the order, a loud sound suddenly came from the city. Boom! Zheng Yonghui subconsciously looked in the direction of his family. He saw that the warship that had just descended had already exploded, and a terrifying flame appeared on its side. When the flames appeared, Zheng Yonghui's face became extremely ugly. This is not the Qilin battleship. The unique external appearance of the Qilin battleship was unforgettable. The other Qilin battleship, which had just taken off, also exploded at this moment. A black smoke rose into the sky. Then, the Qilin battleship lost its power and fell to the ground. Pang Shan's mood was even worse than Zheng Yonghui's when he saw this scene. The two Qilin warships, which could withstand an army of 100,000, were destroyed just like that. They were already at a disadvantage before the battle even began. The destruction of such a warship meant that they had lost half of their defensive power. Fuck! Zheng Yonghui couldn't help but curse. The enemy had clearly come prepared. Moreover, their plan was quite thorough. Even Zheng Yonghui had fallen for it. When the White Tiger banner master saw the two plumes of black smoke rising from the city, the corners of his mouth curled up into a smile. He unsheathed the White Tiger sword in his hand. Brothers, kill them! The black smoke rising meant that the Zheng family's Qilin battleship had already been destroyed. There was nothing to be afraid of now. Money makes the world go round. This saying was very useful no matter where one went. When this furious roar rang out, the 6 banner masters also urged their horses forward. It was only the initial stage, so they naturally had to charge at the very front. It would be best if they were injured or something like that. Only then would they be able to fool the people behind them. Although the 6 banner masters had moved out at the same time, and were at the forefront, they were actually very safe. After all, the first batch of soldiers behind them were Bloodstrike guards in disguise. Furthermore, given the skills of the 6 banner masters, and the fact that they were all Yuan monarchs, there wouldn't be any problems at all. The White Tiger division master suddenly felt that something was wrong. When he looked up, he suddenly saw a figure appear above his head. If he wasn't mistaken, this figure seemed to be a carriage. How did this carriage directly fly into the sky? What is that? Zheng Yonghui and the others also saw the carriage flying into the sky. It seemed to have flown directly from a very far place. The horse in front seemed to be running with all its might, and did not lose its balance. It was like a flying horse flying into the sky. Along with the carriage, it landed on the city wall of Jadewave Giant City with a boom. Protect, sir. The soldiers on the city wall immediately protected Zheng Yonghui and Pang Shan. The carriage stopped steadily on the city wall. Tian Fei landed on the ground, and turned to look at the army that was charging at them from below. His eyes instantly locked onto the 6 people who were charging at the front. Although Tian Fei didn't know why Li Zongjio hated the people of the Qingyuan villa so much, Tian Fei didn't care. As long as he killed these people, it would be fine. In any case, he had already killed a lot of people from the Qingyuan villa. So what if he killed them? The current Tianfei could be said to be different from before. He didn't even have to worry about anything. You. Who are you? Pang Shan said nervously. Tianfei didn't say anything else. He immediately leaped and flew toward the bottom of the city wall. As he was in the air, he unsheathed his sword. An incomparably sharp sword aura immediately swept downwards. Boom! With just one man and one sword, he actually charged into the army below. Oh my god! Zheng Yonghui, on the other hand, was looking at this scene. He simply couldn't believe his eyes. Zheng Yonghui could also sense that the young man seemed to be at the Yuan monarch realm. As the head of the Zheng family, Zheng Yonghui's cultivation was also at the Yuan monarch realm. However, even Zheng Yonghui didn't dare to rush down and face so many people alone. Among them, the 6 banner masters were all Yuan monarchs. You are courting death. I'll kill him. When the Black Wolf banner chief saw Tianfei descending from the sky, he stomped on the back of his horse. The steel spear in his hand abruptly shot out. As he shot out his spear, a cold light flashed between him and Tianfei. Boom! The Black Wolf banner master's body immediately fell from the sky. His body had already been split in half. After all, he was from the Mystic Yuan sect. His cultivation was also at the level of a grade 5 Yuan monarch. If he had activated his innate talent, he would have probably reached the level of a grade 6, or even a grade 7 Yuan monarch. Therefore, it would be easy for him to kill these people who were only at the level of a grade 2 Yuan monarch. The moment Black Wolf banner leader attacked, he was instantly killed. This scene shocked the remaining 5 banner masters. However, the arrow had already been knocked and had to be released. The 5 of them didn't dare to be careless and attacked together. The Bloodstrike guards behind them immediately got into formation and formed a large bloody array. Boom! Tianfei landed on the ground and immediately engaged in a fierce battle with the 5 banner masters. As the 6 Yuan monarchs exchanged blows, the chaotic aura emitted instantly stopped the charging army behind them. If they rushed forward now, they would be torn to shreds by the aura emitted by these Yuan monarchs. Zheng Yonghui and the others on the city wall were stunned when they saw this scene. If they weren't mistaken, this young man should be driving the carriage. Who exactly was the person in the carriage? Another person walked down. Magistrate. Pang Shan was delighted when he saw Fang Youji. He hadn't expected that such an expert would be brought here by Fang Youji. Could the imperial court already know that these people were causing trouble? Magistrate, could this be the expert you invited? Fang Youji shook his head. No, it's his men. Him? Could there be someone with a higher status than the magistrate? How could he let the magistrate get off the carriage first? Li Zongjie walked down from the carriage. Is this Bibo City? Li Zongjie looked ordinary and mediocre. He didn't have the temperament of an expert. He looked more like a weak weakling. The clothes he was wearing were simple gray clothes, and he didn't look like he was rich or noble. It really made people blind. He was clearly an ordinary person. This is Li Zongjie. Chapter 732. Li Zongjie. Li Zongjie. Pang Shan and Zheng Yonghui were both surprised. The name of the man named Li Zongjie in front of him actually sounded so familiar. I remember now. You are Haoran's elder brother. Zheng Yonghui suddenly said. Zheng Haoran often mentioned Li Zongjie's name in front of Zheng Yonghui. Later on, Li Zongjie made a name for himself in the Sacred Flame Royal City. After all, some of the dynasty's official announcements would also record the happenings in the royal city. At the same time, more of these wandering people would gradually spread the deeds of Li Zongjie in the Sacred Flame Royal City. It was also because of this that the people of Dingquan province heard of the name Li Zongjie. It's the famous Li Zongjie in the royal city. Pang Shan also came to a realization. He did not expect that the legendary person was actually such an ordinary young man. It was truly unexpected. You are? Li Zongjie looked at Zheng Yonghui. I'm Zheng Haoran's father, Zheng Yonghui. Zheng Haoran. Li Zongjie still had an impression of this person. When he was in Guanxi town, Zheng Haoran was also there to support him. That was why his uncle was able to take up the position of Guanxi town's garrison guard. So you're Zheng Haoren's father? Li Zongjie said. If Zheng Haoren's father was Zheng Haoren's father, then he was the head of the Zheng family. He was the head of the family who worked hard for 500 years to raise Cerulean Wave Giant City to a first-class city. Zheng Yonghui had indeed worked very hard. His standard was obviously high enough, but there would always be unexpected situations. Li Zongjie did not remember the specific situation later on. However, looking at Zheng Yonghui now, he did not think that Zheng Yonghui was a useless person. Someone must have been dragging him down. Are the people below from Qingyuan Villa? When Li Zongjie saw the dense mass of people, he thought, isn't this a little too grand? To be able to easily summon so many people to help out, this Qingyuan Villa's methods were truly extraordinary. Most of them are victims from other cities who were used by them. Only a few of them are the real members of the Eight Banners army. Zheng Yonghui pointed at some of the people below. These people obviously looked well-trained, but Tian Fei's fierce battle had already turned the situation into an extremely dangerous one. If one dared to approach them, one would be injured by their aura. However, the blood-robed guards were also lying in ambush, ready to charge in at any moment. On the other hand, Tian Fei was fighting against 5 banner masters alone. This battle was extremely fierce, and Tian Fei was gradually gaining the upper hand. This situation was unexpected. A mere youngster was actually able to fight to a draw with 5 banner masters. Moreover, he had directly killed the Black Wolf banner master at the beginning of the battle. Are there people from Nanjung's poison sect in this city? Li Zongjie scanned the city with his mind power, and immediately discovered that there were many movements in Jade Wave City. These movements were the aura of Nanjung's poison sect. Li Zongjie would never forget the aura of these bastards. Yes, before Zheng Yonghui could finish speaking, Li Zongjie's figure had already disappeared from the spot. Even Zheng Yonghui, who was a Yuan monarch, had not been able to clearly see Li Zongjie's movements. In the city, the group from Nanjung's poison sect was already preparing to retreat after completing their mission. Their mission today was to destroy the Zheng family's Qilin battleship. If the Qilin battleship unleashed its full power, it would take less than an hour to destroy the Middle Reaches mountain. Currently, most of the members of Nanjung's poison sect were loitering around the Middle Reaches mountain. Are you guys going to leave just like that? Aren't you going to kill everyone from the Zheng family? Yang Xiao, the head of the Yang family, panicked when he saw that the members of Nanjung's poison sect were preparing to leave. Hadn't they previously agreed to take the life of the head of the Zheng family in addition to the 2 Qilin battleships? However, it seemed like these people were not going to continue attacking the Zheng family. Head of the Yang family, don't worry. When the 6 banner masters attack, the entire Zheng family will be annihilated. An elder of Nanjung's poison sect said. This elder was called Amandao. At the beginning, he had only been a small slave in Nanjung's tribe. However, by chance, he had mastered the poison sect's poison sect. Now he had slowly climbed to the position of an elder. It was incredible. Amandao and the others were dressed in black robes. Then he waved his hand, put on his hat and left. There was also a secret passage when they came. As long as they entered the secret passage, they would be able to leave safely. The members of the Zheng family had already begun to search the nearby area to find out who had attacked their Qilin battleship. The Zheng family's Sky Shaker battleship soared into the sky. Over there, Yang Xiao. So it's you. Zheng Haoren led the guards of the Zheng family and charged out. With a glance, he saw that Yang Xiao was actually sneaking around nearby. He immediately gave chase. Damn it! Yang Xiao cursed. As expected, these people were unreliable. However, he could only hope that the 6 banner masters would be able to kill all of the Zheng clan's people after they entered the city. Seeing Zheng Haoren and the others chasing after him, Yang Xiao also flew into the distance. Let's leave this place first. Amandao let the 6 people behind him and continued to advance in the city. In a small alley in front of them, a figure suddenly descended from the sky and blocked their path. Are you in such a hurry to reincarnate? Li Zongjie turned around and looked at the group of Nanjung's poison sect members. Amandao and the others also stopped. Kill. Immediately, the people behind him used their poison sect techniques and threw many poisonous insects at Li Zhongjie. To a true expert, the attacks of these venomous insects were simply child's play. Mountain-flipping golden seal. Li Zhongjie's 10 fingers intertwined as he formed a set of hand seals. Immediately, a golden palm shot out from between his fingers, and with a loud bang, it shot forward. That powerful aura directly locked onto Amandao and the others. Not a single one of them managed to escape. What? Amandao immediately cried out in alarm. However, under the mountain-flipping golden seal, there was no way for him to resist. The golden seal carried a terrifying power and blazing energy. With a bang, it smashed onto Amandao and the others. While they were smashed into meat paste, they were also burned to ashes. Chapter 733. Several members of the Southern Border's poison sect were instantly reduced to ashes. Ever since Li Zhongjie started cultivating the mountain-toppling golden seal, he had used it many times. The feeling of killing an enemy in one move was quite good. Sometimes there was no need to make things so complicated. It was fine as long as it was easy to deal with, and it would also prevent some messy things from happening again. It seems that the members of the Southern Border poison sect are indeed nearby. Li Zhongjie looked in the direction of the middle-range mountain. Then, his figure flashed, and he returned to the city wall. Where are the members of the Southern Border poison sect? Fang Yoji asked. There are 7 of them in total. They're all dead. Li Zhongjie casually tossed out a token. This was Amandao's identity token. The poison sect of the Southern Border could be considered a small-scale organization. Therefore, they had their own unique methods for these identity tokens. This identity token had been enhanced with an extremely complicated process. Hence, it was not directly shattered by Li Zhongjie's palm strike. Zheng Yonghui held the identity token in his hand. After some inspection, he confirmed that it was indeed the identity token of those people. Moreover, based on the material and manufacturing method, it seemed that the person's status was not low. Although he did not see the corpse, the identity token that Li Zhongjie took out was enough to prove it. You're dragging it out. How long has it been? And you still haven't solved it. Li Zhongjie glanced at Tianfei below. Tianfei seemed to have been trapped by these people. Li Zhongjie also keenly discovered that Tianfei seemed to have been poisoned. His body was already showing some stiff purple color. These people's methods were also very powerful. Retreat! Li Zhongjie immediately shouted. After hearing this, Tianfei, who was in the middle of a fierce battle, did not hesitate to give up the battle in front of him, and directly retreated. Given his strength, it was not difficult for him to escape if he wanted to. However, he did not expect these people to be so despicable as to poison him. This caused Tianfei to be unexpectedly poisoned. This poison could be said to be of 5 elements and 5 colors. It was without a trace. Unknowingly, he was already poisoned. After Tianfei retreated, the banner masters also noticed Li Zhongjie descending from the sky. They all said disdainfully, "Another one has come to court death." However, while Li Zhongjie was still in the air, the Bloodstrike guards below had already formed their formation. They were waiting for Li Zhongjie to land, so that they could trap Li Zhongjie in the formation. Mountain-toppling golden seal. Li Zhongjie's fingers intertwined with each other, and formed a set of finger seals. Suddenly, the terrifying overturning mountain golden seal was released, and a huge golden handprint emerged from his hand. It was as if a golden mountain was crashing down. What? This power? We can't even break free. What a terrifying power. Damn it. Just as these people nervously watched the golden seal fall in front of them, they had already forgotten to block it. They could only watch helplessly as the golden seal smashed into their bodies. They didn't even have the chance to escape. Boom! A powerful wave of energy immediately spread out in all directions. Apart from this power, after the golden light flashed, it was clear that there were some black marks where these people had originally been. These were the remains of their bodies, after they were smashed into pieces. The 5 banner masters died one after another. The hundreds of blood-robed guards in the vicinity were also reduced to ashes by this move. Li Zhongjiu's body landed on the ground. The shock brought about by this move swept through all of the 8 banner soldiers like a storm. The 8 banner masters were so flustered that they started to tremble. They could not even react when they saw the scene before them. What? On the city wall, Zheng Yonghui's eyes nearly popped out of their sockets. If he remembered correctly, there were nearly 5 Yuan kings, and hundreds of Yuan ancestor realm experts below. If such a force was gathered, it would be more than enough to attack the Zheng family. If they were not prepared, they could easily destroy the Zheng family's foundation. Moreover, the Qilin battleship had been severely damaged today. And such a terrifying force. After Li Zhongjiu made his move, it only took a single move to wipe out all these people. Everyone was dead. Could it be that my eyes are playing tricks on me? Zheng Yonghui looked at Pang Shan. Pang Shan's expression was one of shock. He did not believe it at all. His body was already halfway out, trying to take a closer look. Pang Shan also looked at Zheng Yonghui in shock. It was as if he was trying to verify something with Zheng Yonghui. This was simply too ferocious. What had just happened was not something a human could do. Behind them, Tian Fei was also recovering his Yuan Qi. When he saw Li Zhongjiu's move descending from the sky, he could feel the boundless power. It was simply too powerful. What a terrifying force. Tian Fei was full of admiration for Jian Wushuang. Suddenly, a whistling sound came from the city. Then, a huge flying boat that was glowing with green light gradually rose into the sky. At the front of the boat, there was a terrifying cannon muzzle. On the hull of the ship, a row of cannons appeared. It was like the god of death, staring ahead and making everyone fearful. The Qilin battleship. It was the Zheng family's Qilin battleship. Although 2 Qilin battleships had been destroyed previously, the son of the Zheng family head, Zheng Haoran, had made a prompt decision to reassemble the remaining parts of the Qilin battleship and place them on the new Qilin battleship. Therefore, he had forcibly activated the Qilin battleship to form a new deterrent. No matter what, they had to deploy the Qilin battleship first. Otherwise, they would not be able to control the situation. The members of the Zheng family gathered on the Qilin battleship to protect the last Qilin battleship. Li Zhongjiu turned around and looked at the Qilin battleship. Its mighty momentum made Li Zhongjiu slightly glance at it. This thing looked pretty good. Interesting. When the Qilin battleship appeared, a commotion broke out among the 8 banners army. It's the Zheng family's Qilin battleship. The Qilin battleship. This name was like a plague that spread through the entire team. The banner lords are all dead. What are we doing here? That Qilin battleship can kill us all with one shot. Let's run. A loud and clear voice came from the Qilin battleship. Lay down your weapons and surrender. Otherwise we will fire. The soldiers of the 8 banners army began to flee in all directions. Clatter. A series of people ran towards the distance like an avalanche. Not only did they throw away their helmets and armors, but they also didn't have much equipment on them. Some of them even fell to the ground and were trampled to death by their own people. Haha. My Zheng family's Qilin battleship is so awesome. Zheng Yonghui suddenly felt like he was shining brightly. At this moment, it was as if the eyes of the entire world were focused on Zheng Yonghui. This made Zheng Yonghui truly understand that only when one was strong enough would others be able to look at him in the eye. They finally retreated. Pang Shan also heaved a sigh of relief. When Fang Youji saw this scene, his heart was filled with emotions. He did not know what to say. To think that such a grave and huge crisis would be resolved so easily in the hands of Li Zhongjiu. Kuan province is lucky to have Li Zhongjiu. Fang Youji could not help but sigh. Since he was present today, everything that happened in Cerulean Wave Giant City was free to judge. Therefore there was no need to worry. Your battleship is not bad. How much is it? Li Zhongjiu's figure appeared beside Zheng Yonghui. Chapter 734. Zheng Yonghui was full of pride when he mentioned the Qilin battleship. However, he did not dare to be too arrogant in front of Li Zhongjiu. After all, the scene of Li Zhongjiu killing hundreds of people with a single slap was still vivid in his mind. The Qilin battleship was a deterrent against such a large-scale army. After all, the The number of people who could escape would be very few. Most of them would not be able to escape in time. However, if it was used against Yuan-Chi experts, the Qilin battleship would be a live target. A Yuan monarch elite could easily land on the Qilin battleship and destroy it directly. The construction cost of this Qilin battleship is ordinary, but the driving energy is extremely expensive. It will consume at least 1 mid-grade Yuan stone, just to maintain the kinetic energy for an hour. It will also require at least 1 high-grade Yuan stone to power it as an arsenal. Zheng Yonghui could not help but say, this thing was simply a monster that ate Yuan stones. In order to unleash its power, it had to be fed. How many families could afford to consume so many Yuan stones? Therefore, the Zheng family would not let the Qilin battleship open fire, unless it was absolutely necessary. Otherwise, hundreds of thousands of purple coins would be wasted. I will give you 100 high-grade Yuan stones in exchange for 10 Qilin battleships. Li Zhongjiu did not say anything else. He immediately took out 100 high-grade Yuan stones from the southern nation ring. Hundreds of high-grade Yuan stones landed on the ground and immediately exuded a suffocating Yuan Qi. This kind of origin Qi that assaulted one's face was simply going to cause one to faint from the rush. It was truly incomparably shocking. Zheng Yonghui had not expected Li Zhongjiu to be so straightforward. With these high-grade Yuan stones, the rest of the Qilin battleships of the Zheng family could be activated as backup. This was the most important thing. Therefore, although those people had launched a sneak attack and destroyed the Qilin battleship, it was actually not a big problem. The construction cost of a Qilin battleship was only about 20 million purple yuan. After all, it was relatively easier for craftsmen who cultivated Yuan Qi to build and assemble these things. The cost of manpower was slightly reduced, mainly because of the preciousness of the blueprint and the power of the weapon. Deal. Zheng Yonghui was no ordinary person. He reached out his hand and kept the 100 upper-grade primordial stones under the envious gazes of the surrounding people. As expected of someone who had returned from the royal city, he was so generous. Father. A figure descended from the sky. It was Zheng Haoran, the third young master of the Zheng family. Zheng Haoran was fully armed. Although Zheng Haoran did not know how to operate this Qilin battleship, in fact, this battleship was under Zheng Haoran's name. The talents on board were also cultivated by Zheng Haoran. The people on this fleet were also loyal to Zheng Haoran. It had to be said that the Zheng family's model was a way of spreading their branches and spreading their leaves. Everyone developed independently and became stronger on their own before finally returning to the family. It was precisely this method that made the Zheng family feel as though they had accumulated a lot of resources and were about to explode. After all, this required a process of accumulation in order to achieve such results and achievements. This time, Zheng Haoran could be said to have completed his task perfectly. With only a Qilin battleship, he forced these people to retreat and solved the crisis of the Azure Wave Giant City. Just thinking about it made Zheng Haoran feel that it was very cool. Therefore, he naturally came to Zheng Yonghui to ask for credit. Of course, he also wanted to see if there was any danger on the battleship. You trash. 2 of our battleships have been destroyed. Did you catch the culprit? As soon as Zheng Haoran landed on the ground, Zheng Yonghui started to rain curses on him, causing the smile on Zheng Haoran's face to immediately stiffen. The change in style was too fast, which was beyond Zheng Haoran's expectation. If it weren't for young hero Li Zhongjiu, your father would have been killed. Zheng Yonghui said, naturally leading Zheng Haoran's gaze to Li Zhongjiu's direction. Since Li Zhongjiu was so powerful, if he was really the brother of Zheng Haoran's son, wouldn't the Zheng family be like a dragon rising from the shallow beach? Li, big brother. When Zheng Haoran saw Li Zhongjiu in front of him, he suddenly froze. When he met Li Zhongjiu in the small Guanxi town, after seeing Li Zhongjiu's skills, Zheng Haoran knew that Li Zhongjiu was definitely not an ordinary person. Who could use the green light sword finger to such an extraordinary level? Only Li Zhongjiu could do it. Big brother. When Zheng Haoran saw Li Zhongjiu, he immediately rushed up and gave Li Zhongjiu a bear hug. Li Zhongjiu also patted Zheng Haoran's shoulder. Although the two of them did not have much interaction, Li Zongjio could see that Zheng Haoren sincerely treated him as a big brother. If Zheng Haoren could help him, then Li Zongjio could protect him for a lifetime. I didn't expect to come to your territory, Li Zongjio suddenly said with a smile. But why is your cultivation still so weak? How can my level be compared to you, big brother? Zheng Haoren immediately waved his hand and said. Seeing that Zheng Haoren and Li Zongjio's relationship seemed to be very good, Zheng Yonghui's heart was simply blooming with flowers. It should be known that if a young expert like Li Zongjio, or any expert, did not establish a good foundation when they grew up early, then even if they wanted to befriend later, it would be harder than ascending to the heavens. Therefore, there was nothing more perfect than being able to lay down the foundation at an early stage. Right, we found traces of the poison sect in Nanjiang. There are at least 6 of them. Now that these people are still wandering in the city, we must catch them. Zheng Haoren said. Waiting for you, it's too late. Zheng Yonghui glared at Zheng Haoren, as if blaming Zheng Haoren for not doing a good job. Of course, it was also to highlight Li Zongjio's strength and power. In such a short time, he directly killed the people of the poison sect in Nanjiang, including an elder-level expert. It was really amazing. So powerful. When Zheng Haoren saw Zheng Yonghui's unhurried manner, he knew what was going on. When he heard Zheng Yonghui's words, it was obvious that Li Zongjio had settled the matter. He felt even more heartfelt admiration. Right, the people of the Yang family were also involved. We originally wanted to capture that Yang Xiao, but he was too strong and escaped. Zheng Haoren said solemnly. The external problem was solved. Then the next thing was to solve the internal problem. Let's not talk about this first. Let's first meet the prefect of Dingquan province. Zheng Yonghui said. Fang Youji's official prestige was not strong, but at a glance, it gave people a feeling that it was as heavy as a mountain. He was indeed a reliable person, and at the same time, a person protected by great luck. Given Fang Youji's status, he was definitely the person with the greatest authority in Dingquan province. Just a word from him would be able to give Emerald Wave Colossal City better policies and treatment. The existence of the prefectures was to develop and adjust the balance of power of the cities under them. Therefore, if you want Cerulean Wave Giant City to be good, you must have a good relationship with Fang Youji. Greetings, Prefect. Zheng Haoren heard that the prefect of Dingquan province was an incredible person, so he quickly bowed. I've long heard of the Zheng family of Cerulean Wave Giant City. You're indeed full of heroes. Fang Youji said with a smile. This group of people of the Zheng family was quite interesting. Leave the matters here to me. Everyone, please settle down in the city. Patriarch Zheng, I'll leave the reception to you. Pang Shan said. In addition to dealing with the aftermath, they also had to figure out the current situation. Now that so many people had died at the scene, they naturally had to find out the origin of these people, and whether there were any other accomplices. There were many things that needed to be dealt with. Prefect, please. Young Hero Li, if you don't mind, let my Zheng family do the honors of being a host. Zheng Yonghui said. Let's go. I still have to give face to Haoren. Li Zongjio said. Of course, they had to give Zheng Haoren face. Of course, not everyone was qualified to treat Li Zongjio to a meal. Tianfei took advantage of the time just now to recover, and continued to follow Li Zongjio. This is Tianfei. Li Zongjio introduced. Strictly speaking, Tianfei was a follower, not a slave. Brother Tianfei's cultivation is so profound. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.